Hi everyone, it's Heidi coming to you from Costume Co. with another live stream. And we've been doing this top 10 thing. And this week, I have to just make sure I've stopped the there. And this week, I have the amazing Justin Thomas with us. I have been very excited and looking forward to this stream that we're going to be doing. It's about a TV show called Dark, which I have been watching since the beginning. It's fantastic. It's on Netflix. It's a German
Bragger.
language film. And but before I do that, I want to introduce to you the wonderful, the talented Justin Thomas from Top Shelf Fandom. Hello, Justin.
Hey, Heidi. It's always a pleasure to be here. I'm Justin Thomas from Top Shelf Fandom. We cover everything story, everything you love to dive into. I'm trying to coin a new phrase, people, lullaby series in this COVID time, what you fall asleep to. I'm trying to get that going. It's been my Sons of Anarchy series, and I can't be more honored to be here with you. It's always such a blast.
Well, thank you for being here tonight. We were both discussing just before the stream, like we're both kind of a bit tired, but hopefully this stream will energize us a bit, give us a little bit of a lift, and then we'll be able to go to bed, have some good slumber. But we were saying it's kind of appropriate. It's dark out now, so it's a good time to talk about a show called Dark. It would be funny to do this stream in the morning, actually, to do a show called Dark in the morning. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, I used to hate that, the old Justin, and I think that a future Justin came into the timescape at some point with a paradox and said you must revert to a normal human being and stop working at clubs and do this. I used to think, oh man, that's egregious, but now I'm up at 6 and I'm doing videos and recording things and working by 8. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be down for it. But Dark is where it's at, and I think that it's one of those series that definitely went under the radar for a bit and now is really popping, and you see a lot of people covering it, and it's a very complex series to cover, but it is such a masterpiece and such a piece of art.
Yeah, so when I first heard about this show, I'd heard that that Netflix actually, I think they had seen something by these two directors, these two German directors, and they
Mm-hmm.
approached them, or maybe it was, I think they approached them and
They
asked
did.
them. So it's not like it's like it was a show that was done in Germany that they were saying, hey, we'd like to bring this to North America. No, they actually, what did they call it?
They
They were
optioned them.
optioned
This
it,
is a good
exactly.
story. Like, this is how crazy this is. And I don't
Mhm.
want to interrupt right away because I'm sure I'll do it later. But this is how crazy this is, Heidi, that you bring that up. Because you have to understand that this is the greatest time travel story ever told. Because it isn't Doc saying, Marty, we got to go do this or that. It is literally a story about time travel that has an emotional core spine, and it actually has stakes, and it really deals with the paradoxical, the philosophical, metaphysical, and psychological aspects of this. But these two showrunners, a male and a female, both excellent creators over across the pond over there in Germany. But is that correct for Germany
Yep, no,
too?
it is.
Yeah, I
That
mean
is
it's
right.
still
Across the
across.
pond.
Yeah, it's across there.
Puddle
So,
jumpers.
but yeah, they're puddle. Yeah, there you go. But they said, oh, we had a procedural, like drama
Yeah.
in the works, and then we had a time travel drama in the works, Heidi. And then Netflix optioned them, meaning they pretty much bought their brains for a year.
Yeah,
Pay.
and it was a gamble too
Yeah,
because
but they're
of
like,
it
I
being
guess
a
we'll put
German
them
film.
together.
Yeah, and it paid off. And it's interesting. So, like, it took a while to grow legs. And the other thing is, there's no stars in it. I mean, maybe they might be a star. Somebody
You
might be a
might
star
think
in
the
Germany.
Ulrich is Mads Nicholson,
Yeah,
but you might mistake him for Mads, right?
he does look like Mads. Yeah, but really, there's no actor in this that we have ever seen or known.
No.
And a lot of them look like regular people. That's the other thing. Is nobody looks like a movie star. I've
Yeah.
seen a few of them that look good outside of the show, but like in the show, they look pretty,
Let's face it,
average
Heidi. We make
person.
it pretty hard for them to sit up to the standards there. We set the bar. No, but you're right. This is a no-namer series.
No name or series, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Name.
I
I mean,
just want,
I still can't name an actor.
me neither. I just want to say hi to 30 Days. Hello. Thanks so much, 30 Days, for coming in. And OTDA is here as well. And you're Top Shelf Fandom, so you're here, Justin.
Oh
And also, I just want to say that you can interrupt away. You never interrupt me. I always like hearing what you have to say.
no,
So
absolutely.
what we're going to do a little bit tonight is Justin, like, I've I was just talking to Justin about this. I had this idea initially that we could do a top 10 series, like 10 ideas that, or 10 things that you really like about the show. It may not be like, we may not do this completely structured, but Justin's going to come up with maybe,
I mean, I can hit 10.
You can hit 10. Okay.
My first would be the approach to story. This literally, and this is why I make such a big deal, because me as a hack screenwriter, as somebody that writes something every week and throws it away and discusses with himself, I really look upon this with a lot of admiration. I say this changes story. Now, I'm not looking to make this paradoxical time travel story, but I'm looking to just write a fluent short story, right? And then I see them start, and with the way in which these characters' arcs work, and I talk about them combining this procedural drama in which they had already in the works, and then they got optioned, meaning their brains were bought and they had to come to the table, and they said, well, I guess we'll do both. It seems like such a nonchalant way to do things, but they literally have been definitely they've earned the mantle of best time travel story ever told. And this kind of changes storytelling, because you do have a traditional arc with Ulrich, right? Like,
yeah,
it starts off with there is a missing boy that nobody cares so much for, right? Yeah. They're like, okay, so there's one missing kid, but then Ulrich, who seems like your main protagonist, comes in, and then his child Mikkel, these are German names, he is missing. So
I've got a picture of him.
Your arc, essentially, this is Mikkel, is let's find Mikkel. Is this connected? But also we learned that Ulrich, who is a police officer, which is also interesting because over in Europe, it's very hard if they're not a armed police officer, because they don't, like, they either have guns, like real guns, or they don't have any guns at all. But like it is so much harder to distinguish who is police over there in their procedurals, and this is common practice. But this is his son Ulrich. This is his son, and he goes missing as well. So then it really gets hot, and we're introduced into a entourage of characters. So you do have a whodunit, and where are they, right? Traditionally.
Yeah, like, so for instance, when I started watching this, I didn't know anything about the show at all. And so it seemed like it started off kind of like there's a child has gone missing, and you've got the police officer, who is doing the investigation. And I mean, he's we immediately know he's not the nicest person. Like, he's not,
because of his cheating,
his wife and all that. Oh, by the way, there's going to be spoilers for season 1, just so everyone knows. But I don't think we're going to get into spoilers for season 2 and 3. Justin, are we?
I have not seen season 2 or 3. I've watched season 1 twice because I'm trying to get a comprehensive video on it.
30 Days. No, it is in German with English subtitles, or you can watch it dubbed.
I
always both. Recommend watching it. Did you watch it both ways?
Yeah, I usually stick to subtitles because you can lose things in inflection.
Agree.
In subtitles, you can only risk the loss of translation, meaning not all words exist in other languages, and things are phrased differently. But with this series, I'm sorry, the that German language just... Narcos, I can flow with that Spanish. I don't know why. Not that I speak that fluently. Speak it a little bit, but this I couldn't. So I did both. I did, because you will lose something in that inflection and that emote. The characters emoting.
Yeah, and also, like, the way they say their names and things like that, you sort of get an impression of how they say it. It's really.
But Germans always sound mad, so like I watched the first half in German, and I was like, this doesn't land for me. It's not a romantic language. It is what it is.
It's a bit. I took German in school, in high school. It's like, it's very like Heidi. My name is German, actually. And when I went to German camp, believe it or not, I actually went to German camp. I got to pick my own name, because it was a German name. Everyone had to pick a German name. But yeah, I always remember it was very difficult. And there's a masculine and feminine and neuter. So there's 3 sexes in German as well, which made it a bit more difficult.
There's an usted in Spanish for the proper, and that's about it. But yeah, I don't know, something about that lost me. I would always recommend that you go subtitle over the dub, though.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
For sure, I agree.
We're all not learned
That's
people.
yeah. So 30 days, if you want, you could watch it You could watch it dubbed with the subtitles, and then that way.
That's what I did.
Yeah, that's what Justin did. Is he's saying what I did is I watched it not dubbed with the subtitles. So it's up to you. But maybe because I took German, it worked for me.
You have a
It's
foundation
different for
for the
everybody.
language.
And the dubbing is really well done nowadays. They do a really good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I interrupted you. Go ahead. You were talking about Mikkel.
Okay, so this is the first child, and there is all these on the spot. This is something I talked about with John from Cortex Vids. I said, listen, I've been told to watch Dark. It deals a lot of the philosophical aspects, meaning determinism and free will and things like that I discuss with Westworld. But it also, I heard it did time travel right. And I'm like, how do you do time travel right? You know what I mean? I'm like, how do you do that right? Like, what type of blasphemous comment is that, sir? And so I got into it, and I started to see a lot of on the nose stuff with the first 3 episodes. And I started to wonder, high concept wise, how many people have stopped watching this series? And I think quite a few right away. And now I think they're back, and rightfully so. But you get a lot of on the nose. Like, when did something happen, Heidi? Was it 33 years ago? I guarantee it might have been 33 years ago that something happened. There's always this 33 mark, but also there's this Einstein quote about time and space and everything else, dealing with the time-space continuum. And then you have a situation, but this perfect metaphor, which I think stands true, and they cap it off and bow tie it at the end with that Mikkel doing his cup trick, where he puts a totem under one cup, moves it, shows his father Ulrich at the time where it is, and Ulrich asks how he did it, because he picks the cup that he thinks is under, and it's not there. And he goes, it's not how I did it, it's when I did it. It's
That's
not
interesting.
Yeah,
that's
it's such a good one,
right?
It's right. It's one of the first. It's in the opening scene.
Sure.
And it's
See,
great.
I don't even remember that.
So it's about more of not how did you do it, but when did you do it? Not where we are, but when we are, that we talk about. So this does invoke a lot of physics that I am not educated enough to speak about, but a lot of aspects that you got to respect, because at least they did their work. They put in the footwork, and they approach time travel and all of these crazy aspects of these shows in a very informed way. And I love the hell out of that, because they still deal with because most of the time a series is about, well, Michael J. Fox has to go back and save this from happening, right? Because the doc comes.
Yes.
And then, but what happens now if he fixed it? Then why in the future? This is called the time travel paradox. If you are sent from the future to go back in time to fix something, and you fix it, thus you would never ever have to be in the future to go back, because you already fixed it.
like I just finished watching season 2 of The Umbrella Academy, and that's happening. That's just happening. And that's been a sort of a classic thing in time travel, is this paradox. There's a great movie years ago. Oh my God, if I can remember it. It's with Chris Christopherson about time travel and paradoxes. And every time you create a paradox, it causes destruction in the future.
Yeah, and they deal with this in a very intelligent way, because they know we're aware of the time travel paradox, because, if we can beat gravity, essentially, we can get out of the Earth's orbit. This is real science. The Earth rotates so many times, you come back to it. So somebody could beat that expanse that's shown it and come back, and there'd be a future them. Going back in time is not yet discovered, but at least they examine this in an educated way. And also they deal with it how we would deal with it, how I would deal with it, with going back in time and trying to save your son or somebody you love in this paradox. Yeah. So yeah, you have this beautiful, beautiful story that's laid out. But I would say my one complaint about the series is, because of the structure, and it's not a very it's not a very conventional structure, but it's beautiful. You tend to think, and I don't know if you got this, Heidi, I want to know, that you should have seen the guy with the eye patch that's in the precinct.
Yes.
I still don't know what happens to him, but I know it's going to be good now, and I'm looking forward to it. But I'm I went back an episode because I'm well, God, I wasn't looking again, Justin. I was doing something on this screen.
I got a picture of him here.
Right. So there's a lot of things that are, that you're looking at in the first few episodes that you might feel hey, I'm not paying enough attention to, but you are. You are. And if you look and you say, man, that's odd, like this should have been, you know, distinguished, this should have been explained, it will be. And you got to wait for the
30
payoff.
is asking, when will there be talk about Umbrella Academy? He's teasing me because I'm always talking. And also because I'm interviewing the costume designer, so I have to get a plug in there all the time. Hey, Hindsight POV, how are you?
Yeah. Well, it's always raining in this series, so the umbrella
It
company
is,
will.
and it's
Yeah.
dark. But appropriately so, unlike later seasons of Game of Thrones, which I can bitch about that, but I won't. But then, like, you have something like, I haven't done an analysis of the costume, but obviously I completely love this type of thing, that contrast of that really beautiful yellow. We in Nova Scotia, we call them slickers.
Well, that's Jonas, right? So
Yeah.
Jonas is, besides Ulrich in the first season, you would assume he'd be your protagonist, one of your
Mhm.
protagonists. So, and he does end up being that. Now, what I noticed with the people that travel throughout time, knowingly or unknowingly, they tend, if you look at all of the earthy colors around Jonas, because look at this Paddington Bear, raincoat, right? This
Yeah,
this
I've got another
yellow,
one too of him
this
in it.
beautiful yellow raincoat. If you look at what we're dealing with, like he's walking with this therapist in about 10 minutes into the first episode, and he's walking, see all these trees around him. Now the therapist is not in this actual scene, but he's walking with a therapist that's all in earthy colors. All of his friends are always in earthy colors. I look at that as like libertarian determinism, meaning
Yeah,
like cause and effect, like meaning like he is the one that's
here's his
rejecting
friends
it.
here.
Yeah, and like he is, see him, like
He stands out like a sore thumb. Yeah,
he is
I
the
mean
one.
Martha. She sometimes, at least in season one, she does wear some bright colors, like as you see here.
Yeah, but like amongst the guys, especially,
Yeah.
like he is like clearly standing out, meaning he is the one, and he does go on. Spoiler, I've only been through, and I don't know if we want to get into this or not, but you're looking at a mirror, and I love that contrast of color because it makes you draw your eye to him emotionally. You don't get his internal monologue. This isn't a book, but you look at Jonas and you think there's something different about him because he's questioning things. Why is this like this? His father had just killed himself. This is a series that is very dark. It's not a lot of fun at first.
Yeah, and that brings a good point that there's multiple things happening at the same time. So like you say, we start off with there's a child that goes missing, and then the cop's own child goes missing. But then we also have the protagonist. I guess we can call him the protagonist, Jonas, who's
Mhm.
on the right here. His father kills himself. So we've
Yeah.
got that happening at the same time. And his mother is having an affair with the cop.
Yes. What you see here is a lot of actual organic character dynamic that is infused later on with time travel. But the dynamics in which you think would be changed, like per se the cheating, are the cause of rumors.
Mhm.
Heidi, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I really appreciate that those are not due to some, like, I'm just gonna say it, fuckery. The time travel fuckery. Like these are organic things that happen in these people's lives. Like they have, this is a good dynamic right here. He went away, he had to go to get some mental therapy, some clarity after his father died, and you see his friend there, and you see a girl that he was once interested in looking at him. Now it gets a lot more deep. We'll get to it at the end because the biggest foible of time travel is incest.
Yes.
But
It's a little bit, yeah.
it's
It
interesting. It's
it's
good.
interesting. It's a little bit like I'm going to say Game of Thrones. The fact that John and Danny, I mean, they obviously aren't time travelers, but because of their histories that they both kind of really don't know too much about, at the very end discover that they're actually aunt and uncle,
Yeah.
or uncle, or sorry, aunt and nephew, right?
Yes.
So it's sort of like this. It's like you are, yeah. In season one, we don't know too much about who is who quite yet, but it does start to reveal itself.
But the number two pro for this series would be the organic character dynamic that is not hindered by the subliminal or the abstract with the
Mhm.
time travel. This is a organic relationship until you get to the actual issue with them later. But this is a real thing. They're not devoid of truth and realism, right?
Mhm.
Like this series has a lot of really grounded aspects to it that you would fall into whether or not there was this occult or supernatural vibe to it, and I think that is of value, and that's really what lands this series in like the top 5 if not number 1 for time travel series, because it's not devoid of actual realism. These things
Yeah.
happen.
And we were talking about how everyone looks like someone you might know. Like they look like
Hmm.
real people. These look like kids that would go to high school in 2020 Germany. It is a smaller town though, it's a smaller community, but the character development is fantastic. Like you really come to care about everyone, even the more sinister ones. You, in many ways, come to care about them
Yeah, and that's
or
my
root for them, I should say.
and that's the thing. I talked to John from Cortex Vids, which I plugged at the beginning, and I said, I wonder how many people stopped watching this after 1 or 2 episodes. Because I know I probably would have. This is your puzzle box series.
Mhm.
This definitely is something you need to put together, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. But there is substance in it because we are kind of like dropped into the scenario in what seems to be halfway through a regular contemporary movie, right?
Yeah.
So like you feel like, oh my god, did I miss something? What's happening between these two? And of course there's exposition and stuff like that, but yeah, no, if you're in it to win it, like stick past episode 3 and there's a big payoff.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can't remember because, like I was saying, I did watch it 3 years ago, I guess, when
So
it
you
came out.
watched it when it released, actually?
Watched it when it was released, and I'd already watched a couple of other foreign language films, and I was kind of curious because I was like, oh, and then Asun, who's one of my friends on Twitter, like one of my viewers, she's from Germany, and she's like, oh my God, I love this show so much. So I started talking to her about it, and I had sort of like someone to chat about with. And so her and I were both, and she was sort of giving me the backstory of, German cinema and how, I guess this was kind of a big deal because to have a show on a network like Netflix and to an
Mhm.
American audience. Although I don't feel that the producers have pandered to an American audience, or the showrunners, I should say. I feel like they are sort of being true to it, but I guess with the hopes that it would appeal to an American audience, I suppose is what I'm trying to say.
I would have to imagine, because that's a question I asked myself as well, because this
Hmm.
was option as we spoke about, meaning they asked these 2 showrunners, I cannot remember the names, it's male and female,
Yeah.
though, that work together.
It's kind of appropriate that it's a male and a female. Now you
It's
haven't
really
finished the
good.
show, so yeah.
And they were optioned out, meaning they said, give us something, we'll buy your brain. That's
Hmm.
what happens. And they gave them 2 shows as one that they were working on, and they mixed this. Now there is some like 99 Red Balloons is played a few times, but I have to imagine that a lot of the pop culture that we see here is prevalent within Germany, but I don't know
Hmm.
anything about Germany's pop culture, to be honest with you. But it does know. I would agree. It seems like it comes over. The only thing that I see a detachment from is how much characters speak to themselves. Did you notice that? Usually, like Ulrich on the computer when he's looking up files, he's speaking to himself a lot. A lot of
Oh,
characters.
that's an old person thing. I do that.
No, we all talk to ourselves. Let's not do this on air. But what I'm saying is that usually what you do in a procedural for American series. Now, I don't know if this is more a European thing. That this is my one note on that is that Ulrich's like, but that car wasn't registered to him. He's saying it out loud.
Yeah.
Usually you'd have a partner, but they don't have partners in this, right? You have a partner being like, that car wasn't registered. He's like, I know. You know what I mean? Like they'd get
Hmm.
into it. Like, no, but there's some exposition that is kind of spewed. It's not egregious, it's not bad at all. It's different though, and I think it has to do with the way in which they handle police, to be honest. Like they handle like the way in which they investigate crimes vastly different than we do,
Yeah.
not just within force but within procedure. So if you watch any procedurals, my mom is a huge fan of like all of this obscure Scottish Welsh. She sends me BritBox or whatever it is all the time, and she wants me to
Sorry, is
do.
this your mom?
Oh yeah, she wants me to do shows on Greta and all this, and I love her to death though. But you know what I mean? Like
Funny.
they're vastly different. They are, but they're good. They're actually very good. And I think this just might be a take with them. Like usually to have another officer to be like, "What's that car?" He'd be like, "Well, that's weird. That wasn't registered to him." Or it's just like that car's not right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, get rid of that person because that person is literally there to expel that. So.
Yeah. And so now in terms of Justin, this is sort of in your wheelhouse. In terms of the writing, what were your thoughts on the writing?
And there is a reason in bless these people that have come out because some of them have less subscribers than me and I'm a small channel, but they have done such a good job just shining some light on the series. Nobody has done a comprehensive breakdown of these story arcs. I vowed to do this 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I have not done it yet, people, and there's a reason. It's very difficult to do. I can't tell if they just stuck the landing on accident, which I don't believe. I mean, I give them all the credit in the world, but as far as the writing goes, besides that little bit of exposition, it's a little bit overt and stuff like that, I would say that the language barrier in mind, I would say that they really maybe could have jumped the gun in episode 5 or 6 a little bit quicker, because I think there's a reason that this picked up steam later on.
Yeah.
It's because there's more of this dystopian feel, more of this real like action pack. It's not like it's hard to watch, guys. My thing is, if you want something to laugh at during this COVID lull, why don't you watch Marvelous Miss Marvel? If you want something,
love that show.
Oh, it is such a good show. Please watch
I'm
it.
gonna do a video on that for sure.
And I want to be a part of whatever it is.
Because it's an amazing. It's so fun.
So good, and somebody that's written for stand-up comedy for others, and has written a Type 5 for myself. It's very true. If you want to watch something that's very emotionally driven and action-packed, Sons of Anarchy. If you want to watch a puzzle box series, please watch this series, Dark.
Yeah.
This is the series that your mind must work. If you guys are smokers out there, I'm not really. But if you like to, get down with that Ontario cannabis or that California cannabis,
it's legal.
Yeah, if it's legal, get down.
You can order it online from the government. Get down.
Get down
comes
before
to your door.
There you go.
They make
get
you
down
sign
with
for it.
This is a series for it. Like, it's a good series, but it's a puzzle box series.
Okay, I would love to have been a fly on the wall of the two showrunners. Like, they must have had a big wall, like maybe with all the, the strings, like, when they do the push pins with all the, like, and it would have been like a yarn. They would have had to have like closed out some big yarn store just to have enough to be able to puzzle all this out, because I can't even imagine trying to map all of this. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
That's my point. Is I wanted to say, because if you listen to their interviews, and if you know anything about TopShelf Fandom, I'll listen to a million interviews before I read their material, because I really like to get to know like what the people are about and hear how they talk about their craft. If I'm looking at their psyche and know the poet, understand the poetry type.
And also, they should. I really hope that they land a big movie or something, because
they should.
It'll be exciting to see what they. Hi, Joanne. How are you?
My thing was that I was getting as know the poet, understand the poetry, but at the same time, you can't all attribute it to that. Like, because they do like this nice little mashed potato analogy that they do. They're like, oh, so we just put them together. Oh my god! Like, this is such a pristine box. It's like, oh, here's your present, Heidi. That's pristinely wrapped. Oh, I just threw it together. You're like, yeah, you bastard! You did not just throw this together. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of hot stuff in it. It's some big shot in, but it's good. It's hard.
So Joanne hasn't seen it. So everyone in here hasn't seen the show.
That's good though.
We're doing a good job. Hopefully we're not going to be ruining anything.
I don't know what's happening in it yet. So I only watched season 1.
I've seen all 3 seasons and I'm still confused, just so you know.
But do you want to watch it again?
I'd have to watch it again. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to watch it again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Then that's your selling point right there, people. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I said Marvelous Miss Marvel. If you want some lulz.
Maisel.
Oh.
Marvelous Mrs. Marvel.
You're so goish.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
You're so goish. I'm telling you.
I am.
You're so goish.
Okay. What about the casting? It's incredible. I mean, I'm not talking about the casting in terms of the, the way the people look, but just how they did that. And also just finding enough people to come into casting to be able to do this. Because I don't even know how many people are in the cast. It's
A
got to be
lot.
like 100 or something crazy.
Probably, well, not counting extras, I'd say at least 40 to 60.
Yeah.
Right?
That we follow along with.
Yeah,
We're
like
kind of
40
following.
people.
We're on their little journeys.
The mapping out of this in the actors in which they got,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what casting is like overseas, but I don't know what these actors have done before. You know what I mean?
I don't either. By the way, this guy kind of reminds me of like maybe what an older Jamie Lannister would look like.
He's handsome, and I wish I was
super
handsome.
handsome.
Like, I know. I look at him, and if my future me came to me, because this happens, this is Jonas. Spoiler alert. But during this, he's like, "Don't tell me anymore. Tell me more. Tell me more, handsome Justin. Tell me more with your full head of hair and your handsome beard."
I know the way the hair and the lighting here, like the lighting in this show,
which isn't always great. I have a complaint about it.
It's sometimes dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, but it's sometimes too like dark. It's like, we get it.
Bit too dark.
Yeah.
It just seems to be rainy. Well, it's fall, right?
But do you think Germans just feel like they tried to take over the world twice? Because they picked the world to fight twice. They said, "Oh, we're going to war." Like, with who? Everyone. Twice.
Yeah.
That they have to kind of keep it down low, like a little bit. So, like, but yeah, it's a little bit dark. Like, it gets a little bit dreary.
Mm-hmm. I love, by the way, speaking of the lighting though, I love these, they have these like orbs, like that the stranger he's called here of Jonas, he's holding, and they kind of like, I guess with pressure, they light up like that. Like, I have never seen anything like that before.
It's like no, it's hand motion. You'll get one once you go through a cave, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a very practical use of technology, but it's also like believable. And he gets like that sensor as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
It like looks like, that's what I'm saying. This series makes the impossible so possible, meaning grounded, and it does a really good job at it.
Like, here's an example of, this is a daytime scene, but look how dreary everything looks. Like, I think it is sort of like fall, and it's kind of like the sun is always low in the sky, or it's rainy, or it's just like, that's why he's always wearing that rain jacket. It just kind of feels sort of like the type of place you wouldn't really want to be.
Yeah, well, that's not what the Third Reich said, but but
they do go swimming.
Yeah.
There is that.
Tell them about the swimming. But they you notice that you have
Jonas is kind of Aryan looking a little bit.
Well, and that's important because there would be Aryan looking gentlemen in this demographic. So, but what I'm talking about is how you had the masseuse, which I'm blanking on her name, but it is the mother of Jonas.
I have a picture of her here.
Yes. Hannah, very beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, I thought you did. Yeah, yeah, just a lot.
Hannah.
But she does at the beginning. She's a masseuse, and she says that your muscles tense up in anticipation for the rain. Right?
She's like, she is all wet from the rain, I believe.
Yeah, well, it's always like you showed the one other photo when it's not raining. It's always raining.
There's only one photo when it's not raining.
Yeah, but the other one, so what she says, "Oh, your muscles are tensing up because your muscles have like this, like, I don't know if you want to call it proclamation, whatever you'd call it, but like hindsight, whatever, blah blah blah." Well, no, this is still, is that during that's not during any contemporary 2000. Okay, this is one.
It's kind of, we've got the mist.
But the point is that he's wearing a raincoat because just like your muscles tense up with the chance of rain.
Yeah.
He's prepared for the future. He has some sort of sight. There is all these like meta aspects of this show that are so beautifully done. And these two actors, actresses, actors, actually the more appropriate term, beautiful. I think that's I actually believe that is a younger her.
Yeah, I totally do too. So this is one of the things we're talking about because we're having some time travel. I know you guys haven't seen this. So many of you haven't seen the show yet, but they do this incredible amount of casting. So like Hannah in the present, which is the one on the right, and then Hannah in the past, because there's lots of flashbacks that happen too. There's not just time traveling, but there are flashbacks, or is it flashbacks?
There are flashbacks as well.
Yeah. So, for instance, I thought this was a flashback, but you'd have to remind me here.
Okay, so this is a flashback. So
Yeah,
what we get is this is Ulrich. This is
the
your
cop.
the cop that
Yeah,
is
on the right.
investigating. So there is a missing of his brother that is brought up that happened 33 years ago at the beginning of the
Mhm.
series. There is a missing child, a Eric, that nobody seems to all care that much about. But as soon as his son ends up missing, now you got a trifecta.
Mhm.
And now you have him on the case. So this is him in his teenage years. This is him with his current wife, actually. And have you seen Freaks and Geeks?
No, I have. Oh, yeah, I know I did years ago.
Busey
Yes.
Phillips. This
What's
is
that?
Busey Phillips.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
for sure. Like this is like a total take on Busey Phillips.
Mhm.
And I don't know what it is with Hollywood, or this isn't even Hollywood, but they cannot cast like a mother of that age and with blonde hair that is likable. But like you'd think you'd like her
Yeah.
after you find out what happens, but you still hate her.
Yeah.
Like you
So this
still hate this
again, the
woman.
casting, like, look how much they look alike. So Katarina, young Katarina versus present, like past present Katarina versus present Katarina.
Yeah.
And the costumes, like, and the settings, are they do an incredible job. Like, I don't know if you noticed any of that, or paid attention to any of that type of thing, but I thought they did a solid job depicting the different eras.
Well, what I liked is that when they went to the 80s for the first time, they did a
Mhm.
low key montage because usually
Yeah.
it would be that I forget which song they were playing, right? But they played a typical 80s song
Yeah.
and they went through and they introduced you like it's just like every Vietnam movie that has the Storm of the Valkyries, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, like it's like this total like cliche. They don't glamorize it. They show what it would really be like. Like a common phrase in this show is, "What year is it?" I know this
Yeah.
sounds crazy, but what year is this? Because they're embarrassed to ask because things aren't that much different. But even things like your earbuds to your headphones are
Hmm.
different, and they go through these. And I think they do a really beautiful job, not only with the casting but the cadence in these actors' performance.
Yeah,
Meaning,
so
it's not
this is the
overdone.
80s, and then this is like present. And but the school is the same, right? So the school hasn't really changed. I think there is an addition that was put on, if I recall, but you know that it's the same school. So Ulrich and his wife, they have go to the same high school as their children.
So really what I'd say, because I can tell a lot of people haven't seen this in the chat, the way I'd sell this series if I had to do an elevator pitch was if you wanted a grounded emotional drama between
Hmm.
loved ones and family, and then a symbolic and a occult and supernatural vibe that plays into more of this dystopian future in the later seasons. Like this, if you wanted like One Tree Hill mixed with Westworld in a good way, like this is definitely the way to go. It was substance. I probably shouldn't use One Tree Hill, maybe even Westworld
I
at this
kind of
point.
like that show at one.
I was an extra on it at one point,
Oh,
so
you were. That's so cool.
yeah, but what I'm saying, you get what I mean? Like it's a lot of fun, guys. Like you
Hmm.
don't have to like sit there and understand every single moment, but part of the fun is the puzzle. Like it is really like it actually deals with these things about like if you went back in time to solve something, what would happen? Because if you went back in time and solved it, then why would you have to go back in time to solve it? It's a paradox. And
Hmm.
then they deal with this because we have a character. Spoiler alert! It's in season 3. I've not even seen the next 2 seasons, but this happens. Or it goes and he tries to solve the things. Right, Heidi?
Hmm.
He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go fix it. I'm gonna go take it. This is him. Guess
Yeah.
what?
So
That's still
Ulrich,
him in the 80s, right there."
the yeah, so Ulrich, who you kind of refer to as sort of he's like a Mads Mikkelsen kind of, he looks like from
I thought it was.
Hannibal, the
I'm
guy in the
so
middle.
German racist. I'm so
He's
German
got
racist.
like incredible, like, I was like, oh my god, those cheekbones are just crazy.
I know
He's actually in real life. I've seen pictures of him. He's actually a nice looking guy, but on the show, he doesn't really look that
because
attractive
he
to me.
always looks like he just got off like an old fashioned ass beating, one where somebody hit
He
him a lot
does.
more than he hit them.
Yeah, and then that's him on the left, and then that's him on the right, looking like sort of a very old George C. Scott. But again, the casting is amazing, right?
Oh, it definitely is. It
Yeah,
definitely
they
is.
did such a great. Like he's even got the little cleft in his chin and everything, and it's believable.
Oh, that butt chin that we all want.
Yes. So, or like, who else has that? It's like
Han-
Kirk Douglas or something.
handsome men.
Handsome men.
But what I'd say is that you would care about these characters in their plights if you didn't even have anything to do with the time travel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
For
what
sure.
sells it. Like, so this is kind of out of context, I feel, for the people that are watching, because just like me, I'd been asked multiple times. Patreons are the people that not force me, but they always give me good insight. They said, "Hey, Justin, watch Dark," and I have, and I love it. And I cannot describe why they nailed what so many others could not. But there's a simplistic, natural, organic vibe to this show that is so amazing. And I love it.
One of the things I have to tell you, like there's a few people that kind of creep me out. So this one lady here, she reminded me
I
like
love
maybe
her,
like
though.
especially the middle, like this is supposed to be sort of a nurse outfit, I guess. The one in the middle.
Oh, you don't like the nurse,
Past.
so that's not accurate?
No, I think it is, but to me, she kind of looks like something out of The Omen, and then she's got that big honking mole there, which just, I mean, they do a good
Irregular
job of
edges.
it looks
Like, right?
mole, mole, mole.
Yeah. Like, should she be concerned?
I think she should have that looked at. It could
Okay.
be cancerous, although she's
Yeah.
a nurse. So, but no, some of the characters, and they do this. You realize that they do this. It was makeup most likely because
They should put some more on her. The last one.
it kind of they do little things like this to kind of help you keep track in some ways. They kind of help you. They try to help you a little bit because like there's the mole lady. That must be so and so.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, but she kind of creeped me out. Like some of the characters, the one I have to tell you, the one who creeped me out the most, and is
But
this
why?
lady here.
But why did honestly, like, because me and you are usually on the same page. I'm endeared to her.
Oh,
She
really?
trusted
Oh,
because
no, not at all.
I'm really mad at you because
I'm sorry.
she trusted Mikkel. Like she took him,
Yes.
right? Like she's the one. Like, because you're so mad at certain people in the series, guys.
Mhm.
Like that haven't watched it, because you're like, why the hell aren't they just like opening the letter that's labeled "Don't open till this point," which this character is, and you're like, ooh, because there's always one person that's playing outside the box.
Yeah.
There's always like one person that's in a time frame that's like,
I don't know
Dude.
because I couldn't get
Bro,
past the
come
mole, and I
on.
couldn't get past
She
that white
trusted
nurse's
him.
uniform. Made her look like she's from like The Omen.
Oh,
Like that
your
she's
costume design
gonna
has
throw
ruined
herself off
you.
a balcony and praising Damien. Like that's what she looks like. She
Ah,
looks like.
I'm not an advocate for moles for you guys in the chat. 30 days. I had one on top of my. I got rid of it. I just got rid of it. I just cut it off. I was like,
And
bam.
30 days CC, 30 days agrees with me. He says moles are always bad people.
And I got rid of mine. So yeah, no,
it
I
seems
agree.
as well.
I called it out and I got in front of it right away because I knew it
it's
was going
always
to
a
be
sign. Like
controversial.
if someone has a big mole in a movie, I'm not talking about a beauty mark like something
Oh,
Marilyn
what
Monroe
is the
would have.
difference?
But if you have it on your nose or you have a big ugly brown mole on your upper lip, it's like a witch. That's what it is. Witches all have moles like that, right? With hairs growing out of it. So
They might, but I'll tell you what, she's a goddamn angel.
okay, you can think of it. Okay, all
But
right.
she trusts Mikkel.
Okay, I'll give you this, but this woman here, oh my god,
Oh,
this woman is like,
somewhat sexy.
and even her outfit, oh my god, like
What is that bra? What is that bra?
I have no idea.
Is it the shirt or is it the bra?
I think it's a
You tell me.
bustier, and that's why you're seeing the lines.
Yeah.
The dress actually, the seams on the dresses are beautiful, but the color, ugh. It's just, and then with those skinny pearls, but she's just an atrocious character.
Yeah, she's one haircut away from being a dude.
She is. Totally.
She really is. But
Well,
still.
she's got those sort of like, deep set eyes, like not much of a lid on her eye, and her lips are always like kind of pursed together. But I mean, this is a testament to the actor. I think she does a great job.
Well, she's not supposed to be liked.
No, she's not.
But the nurse with the mole or no mole is, I honestly like that.
30 Days agrees with me. He says, yeah, an angel from DR who maybe.
And I LOL'd. I lulled at it
Oh,
because I
okay, you
agree.
did.
I agree. But what I'm saying is, like, this is one woman that's sympathetic to the plight. Like she's
No,
seen,
I know.
like, you
Yeah.
always want somebody in a movie when you are the outside, like, consumer and you're watching a film and there's this crazy shit happening, but we all know, like, the big story, right? And there's
Yes.
internal characters. She is, guys, she's your internal character. That's important to take note of. That this woman, now she plays along, and when people are bitching at her too, so she's taking guff, like she's taking nonsense from people, and people are like, "Hey, why aren't you doing this? Why are you turning the lights off? Why are you doing?" But she's like, she's doing the greater good. Like,
Okay.
why? Oh,
Yeah,
you
but
don't have to
Justin, I
agree.
have to tell not Justin Thomas, but Justin 30 days. Yeah, but your mole isn't on the front of your face. It's on the side of your head. You know what I mean? Like it's not on your upper lip.
No,
And and
I
and,
would get
and
rid
it
of it.
seems to get
Mine was up here, and I got rid of it. I got rid of it
and
right away.
hers gets bigger. Like you can see. Like look at it. It got bigger.
If you
Like she
think I
needs to go to a
approve of that,
cancer clinic and have that looked at.
are let nature take its course,
Anyways,
right?
if anybody in the chat has moles, I apologize.
Well, also, it is what it is.
I have
But
freckles, so you can make fun of my freckles if you want.
but she is such a vigilant and such a virtuous woman.
Mm-hmm.
That mole is a little much on the last, but now I'm actually concerned. I'm not like not. I have no.
I'm sorry that I did that.
I'm staring at it now, like mole,
Yeah.
mole, mole. Please get it off
Yeah.
the screen. Please get it off.
So the other thing that we need to say about her is that she is Jonas's grandmother. Jonas,
yes.
who is our young protagonist.
Oh yeah, and she actually supports him, and she's a
Mhm.
foundation right there, and she is a safe hold for him. And thank you, hindsight POV, Cindy Crawford. Her mole made her look good. That's what I said. What's the difference between a mole and a beauty mark? Is it a chest line? Because I dare you to say it is. Because that is very, very offensive to me. They're all beautiful.
Oh no, 30 days. I said like Cindy Crawford has a beauty mark.
What is the difference
hers
between
is
a beauty mark? Hygienically, though, like.
Well, I think if it's flat, it's a beauty mark.
I think if you look like Cindy Crawford, it's a beauty mark. If you look like her, it's a mole.
Yeah, like and also and it's pretty big. Like it's a anyway, sorry, I don't want to dwell on the mole. Guys, sorry. Oh, hey, AU is here. Hey, how are you?
Oh, he's going to be.
I haven't been able to get through an episode, but I'm here to support. Okay, so Justin, tell AU what you just said about the show.
Oh, it's not for you, AU. Don't worry about it.
Is that true?
I'm joking. No,
you said if you can try sticking with it.
If you can get past the first 3 episodes and take note of what you see in the first 3 episodes, because they're not throwaway episodes, you're going to really have a lot of reward. Mm-hmm. So, and this is the proper medium. I always talk about mediums on my channel. The medium is the message in which you view it, really matters. So this is released.
Marshall McLuhan said that.
Yes, it was a Canadian.
He is a Canadian.
He might have had a beauty mark on Moya himself,
Are you gonna say that in a transatlantic accent?
Yeah, but no, sorry. But no, it's fantastic. It really is worth the wait, and it's a payoff. It's not like you just have to slog through it. It just would be it's not surprising to me that this show has just taken off. They had excellent marking. This show actually goes at 2019, July something is the starting date. But it started in 2017. The second season actually launched on the in-world starting date. That's how good of marketing they actually had. And Netflix doesn't really provide you a lot.
That was a bit of brilliance, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a really good show.
Okay, hindsight, I stand corrected. I will retract that moles make you look like witches. But I will not retract that I think that her, what's her name? I'll add her back. That Ines' mole on the right I think it's hideous.
I love it. I think she's beautiful.
But it is purposeful though, because it does help us identify who she is.
Yeah, it is the one thing there. Okay, bigger, big.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
I think actually when you go to the doctor, they do use a measurement thing, like, to see.
Well, I would hope so.
And if it has, no boundaries and stuff. AU says, is it medium or medium rare? I always go medium rare. Because I like a little bit of pink.
Well, if you overcook a steak and dip it in ketchup, then you're just trash. So
Yeah.
don't talk to me. But no, it is definitely an excellent series, and it touches on the theological, because this is a series about determinism and
Hmm.
free will, about how much we have to say in our own lives. Is this predetermined? Because they have wormholes they're going through every 33 years, and they're trying to change things. But the past, in the present, in the future, are this trifecta that work in a brilliant way, and they use Einstein's theology and physiology and all that, stuff I'm not qualified to actually talk about, but they actually use, like, all the modern philosophical, theological, scientific, physiological aspects of this, and they actually have a good debate, because it is,
Hmm.
what is predestined to happen. Can you change what's supposed to happen? Because you know he definitely goes back and tries to change it. It doesn't go so well. Spoiler.
No, Justin, I was going to just, speaking of the portal. Okay, so what were your thoughts about? Okay, so if anybody hasn't seen the show, the idea is that you can go in through the cave, although it's a very complicated map, apparently, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't know if this is what Jonas is holding here, but there's a complicated map to find a door. It's kind of like, being John Malkovich. There's a door that you open and you have to climb through, and then it takes you to another time. You don't end up on the Los Angeles, turnpike or whatever, like you do in John Malkovich, but you travel
Dimension.
through another dimension into another timeline.
Well, they used the nuclear power plant, which was
Hmm.
established in the 60s here, in
Yes.
which had the fallout, because you have a 1953 era, a 1986 era, and a 2019 era. So the 1986 era deals with this nuclear power plant in a Chernobyl-esque way, because Chernobyl just happened. There's exposition about
Yeah.
this. The rain could be raining acid. So what I feel about the wormhole is that it meets with the leading physics in this area, and I'm not qualified to speak about this, but the amount of power it would take to open up what's known as a wormhole,
Hmm.
meaning to open up its own gravitational pull, to be its own monster. And then there is a black hole, a white hole. A white hole is what you come out of. Nobody knows what that actually, because if you go through, you wouldn't know. But it's pretty much scapegoating time and space-time continuum. So they handle this in a very educated way for the physics in which we have today.
Yeah. So, for instance, here, and they do they do this with costume, they do this with hair and makeup, an amazing job casting. So Claudia Tiedemann, who's in the middle, she runs the power plant, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
She's like the manager.
Well, she isn't. Yeah.
She's the executive in charge of the power plant,
Well,
and
she gets him put in charge of it actually
put
after
in
she
charge.
sees a potential mishap or mistake or disaster situation, right? With the storage of the nuclear waste.
Yes, and then that's the other thing. They're trying to, they've got barrels of it that they've been trying to, like, dump or hide. And that is sort of like a bit of a theme from the 80s. This whole idea of nuclear power, people being afraid of it. Obviously, something like The Simpsons, they sort of make fun of it, like living in a nuclear town. Most people wouldn't, like, I'm going to tell you right now, we have 2 nuclear power plants near where I live, and most people don't want to live there,
Yeah, but you have 4 people in Canada. So I mean, like, this is in Europe after Chernobyl.
Yeah,
They actually down the Rhine, toxic waste went. So this was a
absolutely.
really, really, and I'm joking, obviously, about Canada. There
Well,
are
I
way
mean,
more
I
people.
think, what is it? We had, what did we have? Long Island? Like, we've never, like, in Canada, we've never had a nuclear
Well,
accident,
Long
really.
Island is the example of nuclear waste being
Yeah.
dropped, but I don't know if it was actually
No,
dropped.
no, it's not. No,
Well, I'm just going on the
where
record for
was there a
just in
nuclear
time.
meltdown in the United States?
I don't remember. But
Okay.
in Europe, we would have to imagine, we aren't there culturally, but we'd have to imagine that this was a big deal over there, because it was,
Hmm.
that this toxic waste went from Sweden to Denmark, all the way down into Europe. So Germany definitely was affected. So this is the they look at this as like their 9/11. this was Chernobyl was their 9/11 over in Europe, so it is a big deal.
I haven't watched that series, by the way, but I heard it's fantastic.
Chernobyl?
Yeah, have you seen
Oh,
it
it's
on
so
HBO?
good. Oh yeah, it's
I
so
heard it's
good.
amazing. I don't know if anyone in the chat has seen it. So yeah, so this is something. This is a real thing. People who live there now would have, had it would have impacted their lives. But just even me, like I remember in the 80s, just thinking about nuclear war was a big thing. Dealing with nuclear waste. There's been nuclear meltdowns. There was Norma Ray, or so there was a famous movie. Oh, it was with what's her name? Cher was in it, and Meryl Streep. There was a famous movie about a
Cher
nuclear.
and Meryl Streep were in the same
Yeah, they
movie.
were in a famous movie about a nuclear meltdown. It was in the
That is an
80s.
atom and a nucleus right there. Bam, and together.
Yeah. And it was basically about a woman. I don't know if it was based on a true story, but a woman who knew something was up, and she was trying to warn everybody about the dangers, and then they ended up having this big meltdown at the power plant. So Claudia, so she's like, so that's her, like she's full on 80s here. She's like power suit 80s lady, and this would have been
How many women propel or repel in this series, Heidi? How many women repel into caves? Like over 50. They're constantly having
it's unbelievable.
citizen.
And it's a tiny little door. It's like a John Malkovich size
All
door.
I'm saying is don't take this as a gender thing, but they only show females doing it. I would say the same thing for guys, but there's over 50-year-old women constantly repelling into this fucking cave in this series, and they're always huffing and puffing, rightfully so. I actually think that's accurate because I know it would be hard for me to do. If I could even do it. But I'm like, how many women are repelling in Germany these days?
But this is what happens when you go through the tunnel too many times.
Oh, Chernobyl, yeah.
No, this picture here.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's apparently what happens when you time travel too much. Your skin starts to like boil. Yeah. Apparently, I don't know. That's
and you wear what's his name suits that does Family Feud.
Richard Dawson? Family Feud?
No, not the Caucasian gentleman.
Oh, him with the mustache?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't remember his name. Does anybody know who does Family Feud?
Yeah, it's
he's bald.
No
mustache.
Yeah, oh yeah, he is.
Black gentleman.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, he wears those 3 button-up suits. Steve Harvey. Yeah, he's Steve Harvey in it right there.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm assuming I don't want to get into spoilers, but I'm assuming he wears this very high collar for a reason.
Well, this is the thing that I'm talking about. Season 1 is very grounded. And it gets into this metaphysical, this philosophical, all the psychology and stuff like that. But then at the very end of it, you get like candy is just like spawned upon you, right? Like it is beautiful. Like the series just opens up, and it's not that I don't appreciate the grounded, because I actually more so appreciate that. But I can see how it's become such a big thing now, because that guy you just had on screen is the protagonist. Yeah. Like he looks like somebody from Star Trek, right?
He does.
Like, in the 80s. Like this looks like somebody from Star Trek. Like it gets crazy.
Yeah, and I actually I saw a picture with the actor. It looks like he's actually like a really handsome man. So this is all prosthetics.
Yeah, he might age badly though. If any ladies are watching, who knows? Who knows? You know what I mean? He probably smokes. Gotta keep yourself right, bro.
Oh, AU says they're saving money on effects.
No, I think it was rightfully so. It seems like I might go into season 2 and feel like it's a completely different series. Is that true, Heidi?
No, but it does start to get cray. It basically, okay, like if season 1 is grounded, like season 2 just goes full on, almost full on science fiction, I would say.
They're like, yo, the new ground is up in the clouds.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they still manage to do story and do characters. Like they still do such a great job with the relationships, but it starts to get, it's funny because there's some points I'm like, oh my God, this show is so violent. It just gets crazy violent. But at the same time, like, someone who may not like violence, I would say it's like Westworld violence.
Yeah, I didn't think the violence it made me think those horrible thoughts when he was going against Helge, Yurik. I was like, I could kill that kid.
Yeah,
in 2
totally.
minutes flat. I'm like, test me. And then I'm like, what, Justin? What are you saying? And why am I saying it on air?
There's a lot
But
of smashing heads.
yeah, and then like he does, I'm like killed. I'm like easily, but
Yeah.
yeah, the action
And it just
scene.
gets worse. It's just like, I mean, it just like, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I was like, and then I'd be like, why are they killing that person? Like, what's going on? And then I think Jack sort of indicated to me that the time traveling itself has caused a little bit, it alters the characters.
Yes,
It creates more of like a
and,
sense of
and I'm not leaving. I
paranoia.
just have to block my cam for a minute.
Sure. Yeah. I just want to say, by the way, that Jack was going to bring me a glass of wine, and I haven't seen a glass of wine appear yet. Justin, you still there, though? Can you hear me? Oh, Justin's just taking a moment away. Anyway, so when Justin comes back, what are we going to talk about? One of the things we might be able to talk about is I was sort of mentioning all the different characters that we're dealing with, and I actually found this flow chart because one of the things, if you guys decide to watch this show, you're going to have a bit of a hard time is yes, we're 30 days smashing heads. You now have my attention. Yeah, that's the thing. So you start off watching the show and you're thinking, oh, this is like, character development. There's a really interesting story here. And then it kind of like gets real, Justin, I was just saying when you popped out for a second there that I was supposed to have a glass of wine appear on my desk.
Jack, where are you, Jack?
Yoo-hoo, Jack. I need my wine. We went after I did my video thing today. We went to the store and we bought a big bottle of wine. But then when I got home, I made myself a tea, and I said to Jack, maybe in an hour, I'd like to have a glass
Because that's
of
where you
wine.
made your mistake, Heidi. You said, "Hey, I just went and bought a big ass bottle of wine. I guess I'll drink tea." Like that's like going
No,
to
just
Taco
for
Bell.
now, just before
No,
the
no,
stream.
no, 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 no,
No, because I'd had
no.
dinner and I was
I
sort of
don't want to
kinda
hear
tired.
all your la-di-da Canada ways. Okay, what you did is you lied to yourself. Like you went
I
to
did.
Taco Bell and ordered a crave case and said, "I don't want no tacos."
Yeah.
Like don't be doing that.
Okay, AU is making fun of me because I have a flow chart. I didn't make this flow chart. Some other fan made it.
And you'd be lucky to have this flow chart, my sir.
And then there's two mysterious people at the top. So that is something you won't find out until, I don't know.
And
I'm
that's
not really sure.
To be clear, that's the most important part right there.
The two missing people at the top. I'm not even sure I know the answer to that.
Well, that's
I have to go back and watch the show because even after I finished watching it, I was like, I turned to Jack at the end of the episode and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I have no clue. So it probably will be one of those shows, I suspect, that people could be doing analysis on. You could probably write what do you call it? A PhD. You could write a thesis
paper, yeah.
on this.
Well, you could, but what I'd say is, want to know what's at the top of that, Heidi? The chicken and the egg.
Okay, which came first?
Yeah.
Or they came at the same time?
Well, that's the point.
It could be chicken and egg. You're right.
Yeah, like that's why there's no top fill there.
Yeah,
because
just take half of those people and imagine them with smashed heads.
And here's the thing: it's like I really like Back to the Future. I mean, I don't really. I guess I just appreciate it. It is what it is. Like,
sure.
But at the same time, like real time travel ends in incest. Like that is the moral of season 1. Like, hey, you might like that hot girl. Could be your aunt.
True that.
Like, yeah, it's like those are the real foibles. Like, be careful, people. If you ever get a guy,
if you're a Targaryen, it's okay. Like that would be.
But
fine.
I'm not. Yeah, you can't just say I'm a Targaryen.
In this case, it's not.
Yeah, because I guess those Germans only got one archetype to fall back to, and it's not a good one.
They frown upon incest. I'm gonna just let you know that.
Oh, that's one. Oh, they frown upon incest over there.
Yeah, I think you might end up in a camp if you that came out.
Well, yeah, those camp. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. They frown upon it. They're like, oh, you might end up in a camp.
First
for that.
Cousins is pushing it.
Yeah,
but
we're just murderous scum of the earth.
It's aunt nephew? Is that what it is?
It is a aunt situation, but
it's a Daenerys Jon Snow setup.
No. But that's what's interesting about this is because that you have Mikkel go back, and this is the original like meaningful missing kid, and he turns out to be Jonas's father.
I've got a picture of him.
Who kills himself. Okay, Jonas is okay. So these are the same people But
Mhm.
what happens, and they explain this is kind of like the broad space within the wormhole, that what happens within there is self-contained. That's kind of why Ulrich is not actually like, that's why he's pretty much in hell right now in the prison, because he
Yeah.
went back and tried to save it and thought he could kill the person that killed these people, and then none of this would happen. Like, he went the Michael J. Fox way, right? Like, he went that way. He's like, I'll stop this from happening. But that doesn't happen. What happens is there is no past, present, future in life. And this is actually true. There is only now.
Mhm.
And this is what they work off of. So if you go back and you try to get rid of the person that killed all these people, you only are dealing with now. And there is
Yeah.
no escape from that, because we don't live, our time is dictated by space and gravity and rotation and all that. So we really are subject to the universe, which would be libertarian determinism, which they touch on, cause and effect, the causality of things. Everything that you do making a choice is a choice against something else. So there is this
Yeah.
deterministic hard determinism, I would even say, sense to the series that's really interesting.
What I was going to say, okay, so we have people in the past, we have people in the future, but the one thing that is different about Michael, who's actually on the right, and Mikhail, who's on the left, I've got it out of order. They're existing in the same time.
Oh, yes, that's my problem, and I want to
Yeah.
write them. Why? How?
How?
He
How
gets
can that
sick.
be?
He gets sick when he's existing, though, from what they say.
Yes. So
And that's the only thing we get. So
And
there's
then,
this causality, but yeah, no, Heidi is absolutely, that's my foible, right? That is like my nitpick right there. Because what the hell, right?
mhm.
How can they both exist?
Yes. And so, because normally now in, you see travel, people will go to another timeline and they will maybe see themselves like it's fine to be in the same timeline. Like I think in the Umbrella Academy, sorry, Justin, Justin 30 days. Um, it's okay to be in the same timeline, but only for a short amount of time. Whereas here, they're existing in the same timeline for what, years, right?
Yes. And there seems to be no beginning or middle or end, because they look at time in a cyclic matter, meaning everything flows together. So everything will lead to, so if you go back and try to kill some people to stop them from killing, it's a hard determinism. So it's already been factored in. But there is this crew, for lack of a better, I don't know, description there, but there really is a crew, right? Especially at the end of season 1, that are put together to try to stop this, right, Heidi?
Yeah.
That are still trying to fight this. And there is this watchmaker, this watchman aspect to this, that gets an iPhone back in the day.
There is a watchmaker, which I have him here, right here.
And that's a great thing.
He plays a much more important role in season 3, but I won't give you any spoilers about that.
Well, what I like about him is that he is the author of this book that they all like religiously read, especially the believers. And then they go back in time and speak to him, and they show him the book, and it's unrecognizable to him. And then there is this cause and effect, this causality that lays within this deterministic world. I would label it as like, because if you look at things, if you want to like be devoid of spirituality, which I think to be fair, you should, if you're looking at this in a scientific way, like meaning how time works, you should look at this in a actual like scientific way. So you could go with libertarian determinism. That means technically, even though Heidi, I know as a human being, I only have my own internal life. This is what libertarian determinism means. Everything is a cause, and everything is affecting me. I don't have a choice on what happens to me. I can only react. That is libertarian determinism. So it's a cause and effect on that basis, meaning the world happens to people. People happen within the world. Those people happen to me. So even on a scientific, layer, looking at just from that perspective, you are dealing with a purely determined world. So if you don't want to subscribe to any scripture or stuff like that, which I really don't, you know, it's still fairly deterministic because you can only react, you can't affect.
Yes. I just want to mention that Cindy Crawford is now in the chat. Cindy C. Hi, Cindy.
Hey, Cindy.
Cindy, we were having a discussion about moles earlier, so it just kind of went off the rails.
Yeah. No worry
We're
about
really
it.
happy to see you. Everyone's discussing this incest aspect. I think, like, you know, what I was saying earlier, I'm just going to go back to Mikkel. Is it Mikkel?
Okay, guys, just because there's incest in A Son of Ice and Fire, please remember not to fuck your cousins. I'm just saying it. Like, I'm sorry for
your twin sister or brother.
Yeah, any of those.
They shared a womb, though.
We shouldn't have to say this. All right, like,
a
I'm
womb
sorry.
with a view.
Mm-hmm. I was a twin. Guess one made it out.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Justin, I think you told me that. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I'm not. I won. And it was on my it was Godfather's side.
I don't think it was a contest.
You know, it was because it was it was on the wedding night with my mom and dad. So it was like the whole wedding and funeral thing. I swear to God, it happened.
My gosh, that's so sad.
Yeah, for that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
See you in hell. I got you. Yeah, no, it is what it is. But no, yeah, they oh, hi, Sunflower Beth. No, yeah, I was joking about all that, but that actually did happen. Don't worry about it. I won. I was like, oh, the feeding tube's all for you, and then locked it. I
was just gonna say, by the way, yesterday, because you know I just like to derail streams all the time. Yesterday, when we were on his live stream, I was on the bottom. There were 3 of us, and I kept getting covered by the you know, every time John would put up a comment, I'd be below it, so I'd have to kind of like duck down. That's the only issue with StreamYard I have.
Well, yeah. Well, AU is just overly righteous right there. So.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, AU is coming on next week.
Oh, he's coming on my channel this Friday.
My God, AU, you're like everywhere.
No,
like
he is. He's omniscient. He's too good to be true. So we'll crack.
What are you guys talking about? Now I'm kind of curious.
Oh, it's a storyteller series, so it's his pick, and yeah, we'll be doing it up. And I kept it on. AU's always been a friend, and AU's always been good to me. And yeah, so we'll have him on Friday. We'll be live, I believe, 9 p.m. Eastern.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then
I'm gonna pop in. What's the topic?
It is. You were really fucking me on this one. I tried to avoid
tell us what it is in the chat. Justin's forgotten.
Heidi, I was trying to avoid that.
I'm putting you on the spot. AU will tell me, won't you?
If you do 3 months of artists,
you can whisper it to me.
Yeah.
Justin's forgotten.
And he picked the most abstract person possible. Patrick.
Okay, so AU's coming on next week with me. Oh, Patrick Rothfuss. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but no,
who is that? Do tell.
Yeah,
I have no idea who that is. Is that a writer?
On my channel. No, he is a writer and director.
He's a writer-director? Okay.
Yeah, part of the experience.
I'll watch it. I'm going to come and watch. I have to find out who this Patrick person is.
Yeah.
AU is doing The Alienist with me next Wednesday, which is an amazing show. And AU got me to watch that. So there you go. Your Patreon's got you to watch Dark, and AU got me to watch The Alienist. And I just finished season 2, and it's fantastic.
AU got me to read the Bible.
Did he really?
Yeah, I gave it a B minus. I gave it a B minus.
Oh, Patrick's an author.
Yeah, no, he's good. No, no, AU's a good man.
We adore you, AU.
We love you, brother. You know, he actually used the mine for gold, like some sort of like cartoon character. He has like a mythological past. Trust me, it's awesome.
Well, AU Pack Mule is his what do you call it? Oh my gosh, prospector name, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like silver and gold.
Yeah, and he says the costumes on The Alienist are fantastic. You know what AU is going to tell you? I looked it up. It's a different costume designer this year. Last year it was Michael Kaplan, who does all the Star Wars movies. So they have a different person.
Bet you didn't know that, AU.
He may have known that because he loves the show.
Hope to see more. Oh, no. Sunflower Beth, first off, is Ride or Die, and she's awesome. and she always stops by, and she has a really
That's
busy
lovely.
schedule, and she always just wants to say hi. And she actually is. Her name is appropriate. She is a sunflower. You are a
Aw.
little bit of sunshine
You
for
know,
all of us.
I just found out that I love sunflowers, but I just found out I'm allergic to sunflower seeds.
No, we love what we hate. You know what I mean?
Um, well, apparently, you know what it is? It's related to ragweed because I guess they bloom at the same time as ragweed. So a lot of times the seeds are contaminated with the ragweed
Well,
pollen or
during that
something.
2 weeks of summer that you guys have there in Canada, that must be rough.
No, we don't even get 2 weeks. It's like a week and
Yeah,
a half.
yeah. It's like we can. It's
9
like
days
3 days.
tops.
3 days of the sun happens.
There was a
And
book like that.
weeds. Yeah, weeds start to pop up, and you're like, "Oh, look at these flowers."
There's a book I read years ago. It just broke my heart. It was basically it's a planet where they only have 1 day of sunshine. Can you imagine in the year? And so on the one beautiful day, one of the kids they lock him in a storage room
Mm-hmm.
during the 1 day of sunshine,
No, they're
and he
masochists.
misses the entire day. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, it's called the Canada Day Shut-in. Yeah.
It was
Canada.
actually freezing here this week. Like today, it's just getting warm again. And meanwhile, I was talking to people who were like down in Death Valley. It was like, I don't know, 130 degrees.
Well, they're in Death Valley, number one. So I mean, like, how great could it be? You're like, oh, Death Valley. Yeah.
130 degrees. Like you could probably cook some cinnamon rolls in that temperature.
Well, we'd cook something more like efficient and appropriate, but yeah, like some steaks or some eggs or something like that.
Could you cook steak and well on a hot rock? You could probably cook some steak and eggs.
In Death Valley, I'm assuming you're already fucked, so you'll.
Oh,
cook
you're going to
whatever
be in
you can.
trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be in trouble unless you were in shelter or in shade.
Yeah, you ended
But
up in Death
I know
Valley.
you can cook eggs on rocks because I saw it in Shrek. Must be true.
No, yeah, just like you guys can freeze any fruit or meat or anything like
We
you
do. We
want.
totally do. We
Yeah,
don't need
flash
deep
freezing
freezers.
from Walmart all comes from Canada, right there.
Yeah.
All four of those people. There's Justin Trudeau. There's Heidi.
Yeah.
There's who's that other person?
My
there's
mom and dad, but they're one person.
there's Kyle Foster. I forget what his
Oh,
current
Kyle Foster.
whatever his current
He's up
channel.
in Sudbury. We live like I don't know, a day's drive from each other.
Yeah, so hillbilly Canada for him. And then there's Celine Dion and Justin
Oh
Trudeau.
yeah, Celine.
Yeah,
She's in Quebec, so she's probably a 2-day drive from me.
Yeah. It's weird that you have four people in your major city so vastly.
It's
far.
weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, 30 days are you leaving? Oh, no, Sunflower's leaving.
Oh,
Have
Sunflower.
a good sleep, my dear.
No. Oh, no, she is the best. She is the best. I really look
And
forward to it.
Cindy says it's so hot in Death Valley that you don't feel like eating. Been there, summer stinks. I can imagine it's probably better to go there in the winter.
But Cindy C, that's why you look so good. You know what I mean? That's a good diet right there. That's a good diet right there. So you got it going on. But yeah, Cindy C, did somebody really make up that name just for this?
No, that's her real name.
Oh my God.
Isn't that funny?
I pandered to you now. I pandered
Yeah.
to you.
No, that's what's so funny. She popped in and she was like, "Oh my God," because like we just I don't know if someone referred to Cindy as Cindy C, Cindy Crawford as Cindy C.
Yeah, I would never abbreviate
But
Crawford.
it was so funny. Yeah,
No.
she's laughing at. No.
Well,
yeah, Cindy, why are you making up your name for
I
the
would.
purpose of this live stream?
I mean, my middle name's Thomas, not
She
my
was
last
probably
name.
Cindy C before the other one was.
Probably before that cancerous mark.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I would say about Dark. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, for you guys that missed it, we're all kind of in this COVID lull, and we're all kind of going through some things. And I honestly, marvelous
Mrs. Maisel.
Maisel. I don't want you to correct me this time.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Don't be goyish about it. And then we have Sons of Anarchy, which is my Lullaby series.
I haven't seen that, but I do like the actors. Many of the actors in that.
I am coining this, and they are doing their podcast, and I'm contacting them. I'm not shitting you. I want them to do better. It is two actors from that series. They're doing it out of order. The Sopranos are also doing this, but they're doing it in order because common sense. Cover, they're jumping all over the place. But yeah, it's bad production and all that. But Sons of Anarchy is emotional writing. I'll give them that. Like that's the critique. 'Cause I went out and said, Sons of Anarchy deserves to be held in the same regard as Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm. I think
The
it's
Sopranos,
HBO, isn't it?
No, it's FX. It's Kurt Sutter.
Oh, it is. My husband worked with one of the actors that's in it.
Which one?
Not Charlie. Not. Yeah. I'll have to
Just
look
find
it
out
up.
who it is later. But no, it is that's amazing. It is a series that truly I feel like is the best portrayal of a true hero's journey, and it is Hamlet. For all you Shakespearean
Oh, it
freaks
is.
out there, it is totally Hamlet. But it is such a poetic story, and it is such an action-packed story, and it has these lovely vignettes within every single episode that you can just count on. So it's that right amount of cheese and that right amount of enjoyment and that right amount of emotional depth that's really delivered by Kathy Segal, and Charlie Hunnam, who plays Jack Steller. And
Yeah,
it is
it's Kim
amazing.
Coates. That's who my husband worked
Oh,
with.
Kim Coates, that
Yeah.
he's the one on that podcast. Please get me in contact.
Well, he doesn't know him personally, but they did a movie together in Toronto. And you know who else was in the movie?
Because he's from Canada, right?
Oh, is he Canadian?
Yeah, he's in Canada.
Oh, the other person who was in the movie was Sean Bean. I'm not shitting you. Silent Hill. That was the movie my husband worked on.
Oh, the video game? Yeah.
It's based off the video game.
Okay, so Sons of Anarchy.
And I'm sure Sean Bean was killed in it. I can't confirm that, but pretty much I think you can just assume that.
I can't. Yeah, no, yeah, you can. Wait, what do you mean? Wow, about one was in Westworld season 3. I don't know who.
Charlie Hunnam?
No.
Uh,
He's talking about Danny. I think he's talking about one of the Latino actors. But
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me look.
But Sons of Anarchy is an allegory for Hamlet. It's a Shakespearean arc, and it's very much so overt and allegorical. I mean, that's what allegory is, and it's very beautiful. So, Marvelous Miss Maisel, if you haven't seen it, Sons of Anarchy, and if you're looking for something to make you think and something you want to rewatch and say, hey, I appreciated that more on the second watch than the first.
Yeah.
Please watch Dark. That's what I'm selling to you. Like, because I don't got stocks in any of them.
Now, how many seasons are in Sons of Anarchy?
7. And it is a beautiful arc. It really, because I was a big Shield guy, and I just went back through Shield because Shield, when I was in acting school, that's what was on. And I used to do monologues. And now I look at it, and it's Kurt Sutter. He's married to, Al Bundy's wife, Kathy Segal.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And he wrote this series. He was an actor and a writer on both, but he was a producer, creator, writer, on Sons, and he really does a beautiful job. The only criticism I think is fair, and I'm taking it from people I really respect, is that when I put out that it was just as good as Game of Thrones, which I actually think it is, I really think it is, it absolutely is that it's over emotional writing, meaning it's too on the nose.
So how many seasons did you say again? I know
7.
Oh, 7. Okay. So, yeah, because Dark is only 3. That's all that's going to be, by the way, Justin. I don't know if you know that.
No,
that
yeah.
was what they storied it for 3 seasons total. They did it all at once, apparently. And Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is 3, but I think that's going to do more.
That's coming back.
Yeah, really great. And have you seen all of the seasons?
Oh my God. I like those are series like Dark is a series I appreciate and a series that I really want to break down and, have an analysis on. Marvelous Miss Maisel is what I watch. Like, it's what I love. I love it.
That was a great show to binge during the whole COVID. Because it really kind of uplifted you,
It's so true too. To the stand-up scene. If nobody's ever experienced, have you been to a stand-up show?
Oh yes, lots.
Okay.
I love stand-up.
So you're a cultured lady, but
I don't know about that.
Well, you are, because when I was at Second City, I would write for 2 pals of mine that did stand-up. Right in that stand-up world, that is the bravest thing you can do, because everybody says Justin's funny until Justin goes up. When you step up to that mic, what you're saying is, I'm the funniest fucking guy in the world.
Yeah.
And then they expect that. So you have the expectation about you. You must subvert it. You must play with it. You had to do crowd work. I have a tight 5 that I just wrote. I have never went to the mic myself, but I've written for it. And it's tough. It's a tough world. And I think Marvelous Miss Maisel, they go through that tight 5 of hers very accurately about how that comes, because she has that big like moment, right when she goes
Yes.
on that rant, and it's all funny. Justin can go on one, you can go on one, we're funny for a minute, but then to do it time after time again, she has to go on the road, right? The small little clubs, little places, and she does it, and it is so realistic. People, stand up, if you see somebody that can do stand up comedy and then you see them in a serious movie and you say, oh, I didn't think Jim Gaffigan could act. No, he can fucking act.
Oh my
Because
God. Speaking of Jim Gaffigan, I've been watching all of his stand up on YouTube.
he's fantastic.
It's amazing. Yeah. And this, I was like, there's another show that I'm watching, Justin. Do you know Kevin Nealon?
Mm-hmm.
He has a show. He's a pretty good, he's a pretty successful actor, also stand up. But he has this really fun show on YouTube. I think it's called Hiking with Kevin.
Mm-hmm. No,
And
it is.
he
Joe
interviews
Rogan
all
tried
these
to do it.
different
It's like,
comedians. Have you seen
yeah,
it?
yeah. It's Kevin Nealon.
Kevin Nealon, yeah, and it's really fun. And one of my favorite ones was with Donny Osmond, who, by the way, is really funny.
Yeah, without a sister, he's better.
And they actually kept walking. I'm sure they did a cut, and then they just basically walked to the theater and then ended up in the theater. I was like, okay, that you did a cut there. But I just wanted to say, so AU says that Tommy Flanagan was in Westworld and is also in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh no, yeah. So okay, that's who he's talking about. He's talking about Chips.
He plays Martin Connell.
He is, Gladiator. The gentleman that has the cuts from ear to ear.
Yeah.
And he's been in multiple movies. He's been in Gladiator. He was in I forget what else he was in. And the funny thing is, the two actors that have predominant or like very noticeable cuts on them were club DJs, like I was, and I only have one. But like we just get cut with knives.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
Honestly, like, okay,
I can tell you with that, I have no cuts from knives on my body.
But if you're ever a club DJ, it's so true. My finger got sliced.
I can't imagine that happening in the future.
It's Michael, I forget his last name, but he played Chalky White in Boardwalk Empire. Okay. He was in The Wire too. He's got his cuts on his forehead. That's coming back from being a DJ in New York. Flanagan in Belfast, both ear to ear. Bam. Cuts me only this because I'm not successful. So if I would have had bigger cuts, I would have been bigger.
I have to say though, it like these actors that have that look like Tommy Flanagan, it makes them a very distinctive character actor.
But they have to put it into their gimmick though. Like they put it in Sons. Like it was part of his backstory.
By the way, Cindy says she saw that same episode with Kevin Nealon. It's one of her favorites.
Oh no, Kevin Nealon's fantastic.
But the one with Donny Osmond, who I grew up. See, I have to tell you, I had a Donny Osmond and Marie doll. They made like a series of them, like Barbie dolls. So I had a Donny and Marie, and Donny had purple socks, and you could take off his shoes and everything. And they had microphones like Barbie.
AU says Hodor has no facial scars. Well, number one, you don't know his real name. Neither do I or any of us.
Yeah,
he's just 7 feet tall.
It's not really Hodor.
Yeah, but he's just 7 feet tall. Here's the thing: he became a famous DJ after Game of Thrones. So.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
he's
that.
Scandinavian.
It's really interesting, by the way. I was watching I watched the latest one of the Avenger movies, and it turns out that Thor took Groot in university. I guess it was an elective or something, so he can understand what Groot is saying. So I was thinking, wouldn't it have been cool if there was someone who had taken Hodor in medieval college and they could understand what Hodor was saying?
I'm going to be murdered at this fucking door. Please hold the door. I'm going to be murdered at this fucking door.
But sometimes it's like Hodor, and sometimes it's like Hodor. Like I think it has different meanings depending on how he says it. It's kind of like a dialect,
It's the inflection, but I can't believe that's a true dialect, though. I mean, Valerian is, and Dothraki is, and Klingon is taught at Harvard.
That's amazing.
But I can't believe that. I mean, Hodor just says Hodor, and if I can understanding like his different like inflections and the sentiment behind those, but that's not a fleshed out. Like there's no philologist. Like language.
I would love, have you ever seen, guys, I know we're totally derailing this, but have
nobody's seen Dark here, so I mean,
they haven't. What's the point? No, we've been talking about it for a solid hour.
We did it. Yeah, we did it.
We did it. We're done. No, I was going to say that have you? There's another great YouTube channel about a dialect coach who
Ooh, yeah.
talks
No,
about Dothraki.
is he the same person that's on
Nice
vote?
GQ maybe,
Is it
or
GQ? Yeah, he does
yeah.
like Brad Pitt's
He does
Montana.
Brad Pitt. He does all the different
Yeah,
accents,
Heath
and he did a
Ledger's.
Dothraki one. He did
Yeah,
Klingon and Dothraki.
yeah. No, and there's an actual like, because there's a rule. I talked about this with Robert on the Token Storyteller episode, not the plug, but I'm plugging about the philology, meaning in etymology, the being a linguist, understanding that we have a rule to what we say, meaning a rule to adjectives, meaning there can't be a great green dragon.
Mm-hmm.
There can't be a green great dragon.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
There has to be a great green dragon. You cannot put opinion before fact. You know what I mean? Like you have to like, or vice versa, whatever. There's 7 rules of adjectives. So like you layer those out and you do it. And there's an understanding about how people speak. Like you'll notice a lot of Eastern languages will put like be more reversed to what we say in English. Like meaning like if there's a blue dog, we'll be like the dog is blue. They'll say blue dog. Like it's like color before like I don't know what it is, but you get what I mean. Like there's layers and there's things and there's patterns we follow. I am not a philologist, an etymologist, a linguist. I'm not that, but there is a rule to it. And George was so smart for picking people to make up Valyrian, to make up Dothraki. He's not that. Like it doesn't make him lesser.
But I think that didn't Tolkien. You had Robert on. Did you guys talk about
Yes.
Tolkien and the language? Didn't he make the language up?
Tolkien did. That's what I'm saying. But it doesn't make George worse. It's knowing what you're good at and knowing like that needs to have respect. There are a lot of people that are writing books that I've read quite recently, like people, YouTubers and stuff. They're making up they're literally putting in like blah 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 blah. Like they don't understand there's a rule to language and you must actually do it. So George, even though he has a journalism, like he has a degree in journalism, he has a very high degree of prose. He's a pretty goddamn good writer, I'd say. But he knew he is not a linguist. He's not a philologist, not etymologist. He doesn't know the history of language, the history of culture, and he subcontracted it out. Respect the medium. And that's what Tolkien knew how to do. He was a linguist because his mom, when he was 7, he wrote the story about this green great dragon. The mom's like, can't be that. You know what I mean? Because he had a stickler for a mom, but like, and God bless her for doing it.
The linguist guy, the accent guy, he also did another follow-up video, which I just saw recently with another person, an expert in etymology or what have you, and they were talking about things like, did I say a boot, by the way, because I'm Canadian? A boot. They were talking about sort of things that really kind of get on people's nerves, language wise. But he was talking about sort of how it's evolving. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I have a video on epic costumes. So I called it epic costumes. And the reason why I did it, and I didn't want to get into it with the viewers, is too much, but I did some research and it just ranked higher than, let's say, iconic, which might have been a more appropriate term. But what happened was, people were calling me out saying you're using epic incorrectly. And I said, no, I mean, epic is in the awesome, like the sort of a more contemporary version of the word, as opposed to a grand scale, you know what I mean? And so people were, the reason why I think this was happening is because a lot of the viewers on that particular video were older, and they were like, you don't know what you're talking about, you're using that word incorrectly. And I said, well, if you look it up in, let's say, what's that Urban Dictionary, you'll see it.
It's Urban Dictionary. Well, it's really important that we take note of the foundation of language. If you want to embrace literary works, if you want to embrace story, you need to embrace the written word and where it comes from. You have Hindsight POV. The linguist for James Cameron's Avatar spent 6 months just to create the grammar for the I don't know how to pronounce that.
I think it's
Navajo people, but that's very important. And that is a sense of responsibility and a sensibility towards that particular aspect of your story that you need to follow through with. Everybody in the world thinks I think I'm so fucking smart. I'm not. Okay. But you need to know what you're not smart at. You need to know
Oh
what
yeah.
you're not good at. You need to know where you need help. And you have to do that. That's why George R.R. Martin hiring people to do Valerian and Dothraki for him is such like a ace of spade in my book. Like I'm like, bravo, dude. Bravo. Because he doesn't need to do right. Like okay,
Well,
Tolkien
and the other
doesn't
thing
make him worse or better. It's just like,
the other
dude,
thing
make
this
it
language
good.
guy says is language is hard. It
Mhm.
is. It's not easy.
Well, think about the way in which we speak. And one of my favorite films in the world is Denis Villeneuve's Arrival. And in this short
Oh yeah.
story, there is this aspect of the story that has really just blown my mind.
Oh, by the way, who did you do Denis Villeneuve
My
with?
boy John from Guys, Cortex Videos, he's blowing up now.
Oh, I'm gonna check him out.
I switched up his SEO. I can't do it for me, but I've doubled his views just from changing his keywords because
Wow.
he is a film. No, but it's not wow. I mean, thank you. But
Oh, you know what? I have to tell you, I actually followed him on Twitter today.
he is but he deserves it. Like he is a graduate, from film school in East Anglia High, like their college, not high, East Anglia University. He has got a degree. He's going to be a director. He is a incredibly intelligent guy that came at the tail end of Before the Dust Settles, and I found him. And I said, man, this guy has such a good insight into story, and he's so educated. Like this guy has the degree that all of us YouTube, like Heidi has.
It's Cortex Videos?
Like Heidi.
Oh yeah, I followed him today. That's so cool.
Yeah,
we were talking about it then.
But we talk a lot about that. I say you're one of the few people that actually.
So you're like a kingmaker, John or Justin. Sorry, apologize.
Well, I reckon. Well, I really want to put on people that are, have prowess and they have a professional, standing within their field. They're not just like, ooh, I like watching TV, so I'm gonna go talk about it. I'll be a well-spoken fool. No, he's very, very good. We talk about this a lot. We talk about the language in which people speak and the way in which they speak it, the way in which they have, there's a cadence in your prose, meaning like the way in which you write, the way in which you act, the rhythm in which you do it. And there's so much to it that that's what I hope the Storyteller series, because it's sure as hell not getting me views, but I hope it invigorates people. Like it's
how many episodes have you done?
It's at 13.
That's amazing. And then you got AU coming up, and then what are you doing? Anything after that?
Steve Kelsowitz, who is the writer from he was on Good Morning America, now he's on Top Shelf Fandom. Take that however you want. But he wrote the book on Breaking Bad. He wrote the book on The Simpsons, 3 of them, by the way. Went to college with a few of the writers.
Oh, you've told me about him. Yeah,
he's a very good gentleman. I've actually connected you guys, I think.
Well, I think that once you have this sort of really great playlist together, you can you've made
it's going podcast. Right? It's going podcast. It's going podcast.
Yeah, it's going to go podcast. Yeah. I think it's going to be like, I'm just doing 5 of my little, my short little sweet and, short and sweet series. You've gone like 3 times as much.
I went way too. No, I did.
But I am doing a documentary length series on the prequel characters of Game of Thrones that was forced upon me against my will.
But it's important that, like people really look forward to your like edited videos, right? Like, because
thank you.
We do, because we know we're getting not just an edited polished video from some numbskull. We're getting somebody that's either in contact, or if they're not in contact, guess what? It doesn't matter, because she's just as good of a costume designer and she knows what to look for, and we can learn a lot. Like I said, there's a cadence in prose, meaning the rhythm in which people write, a lyrical sense in writing. There is a lyrical sense in the dress. There's a symbolic sense in the dress.
But this is why I'm kind of entering into unfound territory, because I'd originally done this video, like what I would have loved to have seen in the Game of Thrones show. And I'm surprised actually I didn't get any hate mail, because usually I get some nasty. Yeah, someone told me to die the other day, by the way.
They tell me that every day. Yes.
I was like, oh no, sorry. That was somebody else. I think that was a kid who said that. He said, "You suck and die. You suck, go die," or something. But no, I had another guy who said, that's 20 minutes I'm never going to get back. What WTF? And I was like, wow, dude, you watched 20 minutes of my video? Thank you.
Well, I deleted today, and I don't delete ever.
I know you don't.
Yeah. which is
I
detrimental.
like to keep a nice, tidy house. I like everybody to be feeling, I don't want to use, the word safe, but I want everyone to feel comfortable and
I-
not ridiculed and so on. So I tend to write it. And so actually, I think it was one of my mods who went in and deleted the, you suck and die
well,
comment.
I had somebody, actually, it was from AU's episode of Before the Dust Settles, is me, Hacks, AU, and one other person. And this only got deleted because of my comment back to them. But they said something along, and this is when I was running 102 fever, and it came back the same debate that it had come up since the first damn episode with Gray about, if you treat something that can feel pain without, compassion, without ethical behavior, meaning a lack of personhood that you're giving to them, that you, by definition, are not, being humane. You're losing humanity, because humanity is showing compassion. And so they, in the comment, what they said to me was, you lost this argument, and they put a bunch of thumbs down, because humans don't even know how they feel pain. So how could we teach AI? And you couldn't be further off. It was the only reason it got deleted is because of my very, very, very aggressive response to this. I was like, first off, we do know how we feel pain. It's called our sensorium and our nervous system. I speak about this, in depth in the actual episode with my 102-degree temperature. And second off, like, what do you mean? Like, we don't know how we feel pain, so their pain means nothing. Does your pain, even if that was so? And I deleted that. But people, that's the only thing that gets to me, is when people take, like, people, I might not speak the best. Maybe I say I have that Midwestern and tick.
Oh,
and
most people have that.
No, it's really inappropriate, and I work on that a lot. Like, I don't expect people to make up for my, like, inadequacies, but at the same time, listen to what I'm saying to you, rather than the person across from me that is so confidently saying something that has nothing of substance to it and has never had anything of substance to it, and then you smash it. That's the only thing that gets to me. But I'm all for, you can't ask for people to have honest discourse, because that's really what our channels are about. You are a professional.
Well, the thing is too, is that, when you spend some time, like if you're, let's say you spend 40 hours putting together a presentation, and then someone in just a few words like cuts it down, and it's like, well, you know what, I've presented my essay. I have, I've put forward my viewpoint and my analysis, and then in one sentence you expect me to just be like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, or just say they don't even present a opposition. They just said, you suck, Justin, get AIDS. I'm like, I might, and I'm trying, and I'll get it. Like, what do you want?
I just laughed at the person though who was like, I just wasted 20 minutes. And it was like, it was one of my slightly more negative videos. I don't tend to do those too often. But no, there was something I was going to say to you, and
I'll just close it off when you're looking at those and saying that what I appreciate about, like, your creativity and our collaboration is your professionalism.
Aw, that's so sweet.
But also your candor. Like, you're able to speak off the cuff, and you're able to have a personal opinion, and we are willing to go into debate with people. And we're not hardcore that you need to hate Sansa or Danny or this or that. Like, we're not into that. Like, we're not. But we get it. But we get that you care, so we want you to have a place to feel at home. I never want hate to be spread on my channel. I never want people to shit on other people, and that's why I have to. The only time I delete was I meant to say I deleted my comment, not theirs. You can go look. Their bullshit still up for whatever it's worth.
Yeah.
Because I do support that. You can say whatever you want about me. It will never be deleted. That is a fact on my channel. I've documented it. But it's just something that is important, that people have a voice box. What else are we doing other than milking the enjoyment? And whether they get it out of hate, which I don't appreciate, but at the same time, it's not for me to say. It's like they go somewhere. And every time I watch one of your videos, I learned something. I really do. Like, I learned something. I learn
something anytime I make a video. Anytime I have
exactly. But no, but you do. But like, we both, like, I mean, like, but you learn making it, like Storyteller series. That's the one thing I can take away for that from me. I'm like, oh, okay, like 300 views for like 14 episodes. Yeah, all right. Not the best, but that's not an accurate number. It's not much higher though. But you know what I mean? Like we learn. But your videos, and especially your standalone videos, when you do those focus, you know, uh, uh
I have a lot of help
picks.
from Jack, by the way. So I have to tell you, like, poor Jack. If you guys, I've talked about my husband sometimes. I said to him, I'm always like, I put a lot of pressure on him, right? And so
Mhm.
like when I decided to do this series, well, I didn't decide. The girls decided they wanted me to do this series with them. He kind of just said, "Oh, look, Heidi, I have this really great Game of Thrones opener." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is so amazing." Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's basically like pans to the Game of Thrones, like Iron Throne, and then the letters fly in, and I'm just like, "Oh my God." And so I didn't even tell Tatiana and Vanessa, who were my co-producers, and I put it up, and they were like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "I know Jack did that. Isn't that amazing?" Anytime there's anything like amazing graphics or that type of thing. So
Jack is
so
your
this
producer. And he
oh
works
yeah,
professionally within the field.
he's that's what he does for a living, right?
Yeah.
So it's sort of I'm really lucky to have that. And like for instance, we were talking about this the other day. I don't know, sorry guys, we're just sort of chatting about YouTube here, but I had a really kind comment from another YouTuber, and I said, it's so funny because when you look at where you've come from. So, for instance, I have this mic now, and I can't even tell you what it's called, to be honest with you. But Jack's like, "This is the mic you should get because it has this rating and for the price." And
Mhm.
meanwhile, I started off with a Blue Yeti or something, and
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to do it, and then I ended up with this thing, which is like even my sister has one of these now. So it's like,
I just gifted my brother for his birthday. We're supposed to
yeah.
get a pop filter. Yeah.
And then I got because someone was telling me my peas were popping, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Or
Oh, that's preposterous.
I had, at the beginning, I had someone say, "Could you please stop breathing?" Or "Could you please stop being so breathy?" And I'm like,
Oh yeah, I had to
okay,
do
but
my
then
noise wall on that.
I probably would die. Or, she said, she asked me to stop breathing so much because I guess it was like,
It's because the better mic you get, I have a $300 mic, and then I
yeah,
started getting the Trump feel, and I find it
yeah.
might be on yours, but I put a noise wall on mine because this fucking thing will pick up every single breath and make you sound like you're like on Sudafed. Like,
Yeah, Jack has to like equalize it or
yeah, it's a
something.
noise wall.
Noise wall, exactly. So, this is stuff that I don't if I wouldn't know how to do. But it's just kind of nice to be able to like, I think I've commented to you on your graphics. I'm like, "Oh my God, Justin, your graphics are amazing." And I think you are looking at doing some editing for people now, and because you are
Yeah,
showing your talent.
but no,
Oh,
no.
thanks so much, Joanne. Oh my gosh, everyone's so kind tonight.
Well, she is, and there's something important about that because as content creators, you are meant to wear so many hats.
Hmm.
And I started the channel Content Explained because I thought I could do it without any soul, and just give out tips. And I've decided against it because I've decided just to work with talented content creators that I already have been collaborating with, and do some work for them. And you're about to see some live streams. First one starting this Sunday, where I will be producing, and you will see what the added effect is because when you are a talent, like some of the people, Heidi included, that I work with, she's lucky she has Jack,
I do. I'm
but
lucky.
not everybody has Jack.
No, they don't.
You are expected to wear so many hats, trust me, and I only have one
Mhm.
because of my baldness. But you're expected to know this and that about editing, sound design, and all this, and not everybody can have this I've told Heidi off air like how much I envy this like relationship that her and her husband have. It's a beautiful thing that she's met somebody that can have this artistic collaboration. But
Yeah.
I am working with people to show the value of having somebody have B-roll, have somebody pre-roll, outro, intro,
Mhm.
graphics. If you're not going to be on camera, I've got visuals for you. I'll run your OBS. I'll do it. I went to school for broadcasting. I could be a content editor for the local news station, and I might just do it. Actually, but the money might go the other way. The money's more going this way. You see how poorly Anderson Cooper even and people Ryan Seacrest have done since COVID hit, right? You
Oh
see
yeah.
Yeah, like
I was
people.
even saying the thing that shocked me, for instance, this is, Jack was watching the NASA channel during the whole, launch. And I was like, oh my God, this is NASA and this is so bad.
Mhm.
How is that even possible? And, the content and the coverage was just, it was painful. So, it's sort of funny. And then meanwhile, you'll see these YouTuber, like small YouTubers, Justin knows a lot of these people I'm talking about, creators who their stuff is unbelievable
Mhm.
and
Well,
they're
they
doing it all
learn.
themselves.
And they're learning themselves,
They're learning themselves.
and
Yeah.
there's a value in it, because the reason in which this contemporary media is so lackluster, it has been so behind the curve, is because they have production trucks. They
Mhm.
have things that aren't COVID regulated, that can't happen anymore. It's not that they're stupid by any means. They're very good at what they do. I learned in traditional matter of lighting and
Mhm.
in panning a cam, and being actual like 16 level board, controller, or 32 for the sound. And that's just not what you need anymore. Now is what is happening. Forget the past. People are going to go more digital, and you need to have a good presentation, and that's
Yeah,
important.
it's funny. It was funny because years ago, my husband works at the Toronto Film Festival every year, although it's off this year. And I think it was like 4 years ago, they were like maybe 25% digital.
Hmm.
And Jack was like, "Oh yeah, everything's gonna be digital," and people were like, "No, no, 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 it won't. No, you'll always have this." And he's like, "No," and then like the following year, it was like 45% digital, and the following year it was like 55 or 60% digital. It's going to be 100% digital. Like he said, even these people who are like, I insist on using film, it's still going to eventually be on digital.
Yes.
It's going to get dubbed. So, I was sort of love how Jack championed that, and he's working, he's meeting people from these, Paramount, these big studios.
And he should be, because they are now had to turn to what they looked at as the little brother.
Mm-hmm.
They looked at what Jack did, digital. Oh, little brother. Okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
guess
and the
if we
thing
want to
is,
go in
and
this.
then it's changed it because at one point, like film used to be so expensive, but now anybody can pick up a camera or pick up a cell phone even because they're such high quality. You can add a mic to it.
Mhm.
You can get a little light on it, and pretty much anybody can do it. And that's why you're seeing things, I guess, like TikTok and so on.
Well, and it's important to understand the medium and understand a 3-point lighting system. And I am the worst executor of my actual like knowledge,
Hmm.
because I'm vain, I'm insecure. I have all these, things that go against me, but like me running a production, I'm all over it.
Hmm.
Like I am all like I'm not Jack. Jack, I talked to your husband briefly, and I've seen what he's done. He is a true and tried professional. So
Aw, that's so nice.
but I will work my way to where he's at. Yeah, I will show respect. You know what I mean? But Jack has been. I spoke to him very, for a brief moment, but I've seen what he's done. Like he knows how to
Yeah.
do it. He
And
knows
he
both
teaches me
worlds.
all the time.
Yeah.
I feel bad because I a lot, especially just, we're on top of each other and in the house with the kids and everything. So, but we have a really good relationship. Dealing with, like, he seems to have a sense of what I'm kind of looking toward.
Well, he fixes things incredibly fast, because
Oh
I've
yeah,
worked with
he's very
Patreons
good
that
under
expected
pressure.
me to do anything for them, meaning
Hmm.
like they can't figure out how to do a stream, and I'm like, you need to hit this. Jack, it speaks volumes that have only spoken to him for like a minute or two, because he doesn't need. He's not like, hey Justin, what do I need? No, why does he need? Like he knows what to do. Like he gets on
Yeah.
here and he gets it done because he's a professional, and
He'd be
also.
embarrassed to know, by the way, that we're talking about him.
But whatever, no, the guy
But
knows
he
what
didn't
to
bring me a
do.
glass of wine, so he's gonna lose
Well,
a point
that's a
for
whole
that.
nother issue. But the thing is, and we're both people. We're all people from the stage,
But
right?
when I tell
We're
him,
all
I'm like,
stage actors.
when I say to him later, "Hey, you were supposed to bring me a glass of wine," he'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry."
Well,
He'll be
that's
like
just,
that.
well, he's a good guy. So, but the thing is,
Yeah.
we're stage people too, right?
Yes,
So
it's
he
true.
knows that, like, he ain't sitting there saying, "What do I need to do?" Just no, he gets it done, and he gets on there. So
Hmm.
even if you're a little out of focus, so yeah,
Absolutely.
no, yeah,
I was
bravo.
gonna say, guys, we're probably gonna start. No wine equals trash talk. Oh, I have to be careful when I'm drinking on camera because, like, apparently, Justin, this is so funny. I haven't mentioned this to you, but so I had Tony Teflon on the show, in the very first episode of this top 10, right?
Let me do
And
cha.
and
Tony
we did
hates it when I do his
cursed.
cha.
I don't
Cha.
think he popped in, but we did cursed.
Yeah.
But anyway, so after we, when the stream ended, Tony and I were like, he's like, hey, Heidi, the first time I met you was on Justin Thomas's stream about his birthday stream. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like it was so fun. And, like I normally don't ever have a drink on camera. But Jack was making my cocktails and they were strong, but I didn't realize how much vodka he put in it. So I had way too much. And me and Christy were like drunk. And he said, I kept saying to one of your friends, oh my God, your cheeks are like apples.
No.
Do you remember that?
No, I do remember it. I had it on.
Was it Phil? Was it
Yeah,
Phil, your friend Phil?
it was probably
And
Phil.
he's got like these his cheeks were rosy.
And they're like that in person too. He's a very handsome.
He's got these big apple cheeks.
Phil's even more handsome in person.
He's very handsome. But I
but I was surprised. I was surprised.
I felt bad because I really embarrassed him, I think.
Oh no. Have you ever seen Phil? Phil is the most outgoing. He is a true radio personality.
Yeah, 30 days. Sorry, we just were like, that ship has sailed.
Yeah, intern. Like
you guys have seen the show.
Yeah, I interned at some radio stations, and Phil's like a true guy. Like, meaning he can run a show. He'll go on his bongos. He doesn't get embarrassed. I mean, I'm sure he does personally, but no.
YouTube 30 days. We're wrapping things up.
Yeah, we're wrapping it up. No, you guys all have a good night. No, but anyways, these are true people.
Tony told me that after the show, and I was like, oh my God, Tony. Like, that's his first impression of me.
Oh, come on. No, he was really excited to come on, and you guys are both very talented creators. Tony doesn't get enough credit for being one of the first A Son of Ice and Fire creators. I'll just say that.
I know he's very talented.
Like, look it up. Like, when I did the YouTube Confidential, I actually did not think he was. First of all, I always had respect.
Thanks, Justin.
One of the first. Actually, try to find somebody earlier than Tony Teflon. Mm-hmm. He's on there on his fucking phone being like, Game of Thrones is like this. Like, he's on there in 2011. So,
well, I heard he was. Someone was telling me the other day that he would watch. He would watch Game of Thrones with like the DVD in the Russian. In Russian or something to see if he could find any clues.
So he's just one of those people that you don't like. It's a really weird but I don't want to it's just a really weird dynamic with him, because like you look at him on screen and think that, oh man, it's gonna be like weird to work with that guy. No, it's such a comfort zone. Like I've told the story a million times about how he thought he was gonna screw me over and not show up, because he's like, hey, because you probably hooked it up for what I know. Tony showed up to my channel, and I'm like, this guy's not like having any asks. He's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not being a diva, but no, he's just like that. Like he just knows the stuff.
Say, what do you want to do? He'd be like, oh, it's your show. Like,
so you're like, oh, is this guy gonna show? Like, if you don't know him, you're like, oh, he might not show up. But no, he's just a real dude. Like it's so weird when you actually get those real people that you beg for. Like you beg for them, and then you get one and you don't know what to do with it. You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. By the way, I want to say that 30 Days, who I've gotten to know through YouTube, because we're in a couple, like we go into the same live streams. You go into the the Nick Nimmin live stream, and the D Nimmin, which is his brother. So we've all kind of gotten to know each other through that. And the YouTube community is a really, really nice community. One of the things I've noticed, Justin, you've probably noticed this too. There'll be like a swarm of people who are starting channels, but then the people who actually, then they kind of fall away.
Yeah.
But 30 Days is one of those people. You obviously.
So he does reviews of of what though?
Men's grooming products mostly.
Has he done the trimmer?
He does
the lawnmower.
Trimmers.
The lawnmower.
He does, like, mustache wax. He does like
the
oils.
Lawnmower. It's male grooming
products. Yeah. And so a lot of them will send them to him, and then so he tries it for 30 days, which I think is a cool idea, because it's like sometimes it takes you a while to know how long.
Can I ask him to try one thing before we?
I don't know if is he still here? 30 days, he's still here?
If he's still here, I did blue light after high school. and it's rejuvenating. And there's masks you can get on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
But that might be. I'm kind of a beta dude, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I'll box you though. I'll mess you up. But yeah.
Usually, the other thing that's cool is that a lot of the companies will send him the products.
That's what I mean. No,
Yeah.
like because it's Amazon. Like I had this treatment for my
Yeah.
mom worked at the hospital, and I
Oh,
got like
okay.
it was healing for like your face.
Oh.
You know, like if you had
And
like
did you put a light on it?
yeah, no, it's a blue
Okay.
light, and now they have masks on
I've heard of
Amazon.
that.
They cost $150, and I
Wow.
really want to know. Like, I mean, well, actually though, because the treatments are like one, like, and it worked a lot because I was a boxer, and I marks on my face, so I wanted them off. So, but now
Yeah.
they have masks, so that might not be his whole thing though. So, but yeah, I'd love to see that. Get one of those sent to you because they're like
Oh, yeah.
150 on Amazon because now it's technology that's available.
That's like
So.
years ago, a couple of years ago, I had to do some copy, like, before I kind of moved into the job I'm in, my day job now. I used to write like copy or like script copy.
No, yeah, you were like Don Draper's assistant.
Yes, exactly. So pretty low level. And even some translating. I do a bit of translating or transcripts, I should say. So I had this one for this thing called Clarisonic, which is like a woman's grooming tool. It's like for exfoliation. And after I because it was a brochure and everything, and after I finished it, I was like, I have to have that thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, Doug, can you, like, that was my boss. I'm like, Doug, can you get me one of those things? Because they were expensive. Like, they were like $250 or something.
It was a medical suite below my mom's, and we'll finish it up. But yeah, and they gave me a discount because of the Mount Clemens Hospital, in which it was in outside of Detroit. But like I got scar, like it literally got rid of scars. Like it's like blue light.
That's amazing.
It's rejuvenating. Like so, I'd like to do that now in my
30s. I heard that you can heal scars.
I got one about my lip.
Is,
they got split bad. I want it gone.
Yeah, I think because in the old days it'd be like vitamin E or something. But
yeah, once you get knocked in the face, you gotta get some blue light on that. So yeah, but now on Amazon I see them. So we'll try it. If not, I'll do one on my channel.
Color, so that sort of works for you.
Yeah,
we'll try it out tonight.
We'll try it out. No, thank you guys, and we'll look forward to AU on Friday. We look forward to every single one.
So Justin, before we wrap up, why don't you just tell everybody where everyone can find you, and if they don't know who you are, I'm sure they do, but if they don't.
Well, yeah, TopShelf Fandom, Justin Thomas. Check it out. We will be streaming about the magical aspects in the history of dragons on Sunday on Gray Area's channel, where we'll be talking about how people come to be the mounts for dragons, how dragons come from hatchlings to dragons, and kind of leading up to your House of Dragon lore. I'll be doing that with her on Sundays. I will do my storyteller series with AU Pack Meal, as well as our final episode with Steve Kelselwitz, the guy that wrote the book on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad and The Simpsons, by the way. Good Morning America guest himself, and got some really good books on the dystopian aspect of sheep dreaming. Do androids dream of electric sheep and all that? So
I love that.
Take a look at it. Yeah, take a look. So TopShelf Fandom, always a macro look, not a micro look, but always just so honored to be here with Heidi.
Aw, I always love having you. I'm not sure if I said this on camera, but at the beginning, both Justin and I are really tired today. And I said to him, you know what? I'm doing this live stream with you. Honestly, the only reason why I was able to do it, like I probably would have canceled if it had been
we both
else.
Probably would have canceled, right?
Yeah, but because it was you, I was like, you know what? Because you're one of those people like who give me energy. You know what I mean? Some people draw energy from you. You're one of those people who actually give me energy. And it's always like, I always learn so much from you. And
trying
so
to
it's
suck
always
information
so fun.
from you, Heidi.
Energy.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, give me that knowledge. There's only like 3 people out of the 3 people on this YouTube that have knowledge. Breed it to me. Like, I need it. No, but thank you.
So if anybody's watching on the replay, so we for the most part it was dark. I think we did a decent amount on it. Well, maybe when you've watched the other 2 seasons and I've done a replay, we can come back and revisit it.
We could, but I'm just gonna let you know that the videos on it
Cortex.
Hard to do. It's hard to do. Go to Cortex. It's really, and the videos that are out there are great, but it's just something you have to experience for yourself. It really
The
is.
other show I want to look into is I told Jack I caught him watching it. This is the thing. He's sneaky. He started watching the new Brave
I
New
like
World
Jack.
series.
Oh my god, that
Yeah.
Aldous Huxley is like
Yes,
my
Aldous Huxley.
inspiration.
And so anyway, I caught him watching. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm watching. I was going to watch this new show." I'm like, "No, I want to watch that. You can't just go ahead and watch that."
Is it good?
Well, he promised me he would wait. You know what we were
Get off right now. Go and watch it because I
I
want to know.
just finished Alienist because in preparation for my live stream with AU Pack Meal. And I was also watching a show called The Path, which is with Aaron Paul.
Yep.
So I finished that. It's pretty decent, but I think that's it. I don't think there's another season.
Is it worth it?
I watched Nosferatu
Is
season 1.
Is Path worth it?
I really liked it.
Is it worth a watch?
I mean, but it's not like it's not going to be a Westworld. It's not going to be. I would say it's.
Okay. Let's say Prison Break. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen Prison Break.
Okay.
I would probably put it up there with what's that, James? I would probably put it up there with a Lucifer or.
Okay.
It's kind of like maybe B level. It's not like top.
Is it your Lullaby series? Is it a Lullaby series?
One to Help Me Sleep?
Yeah.
No, actually, I found it's really engaging.
It's not a knock on it. It's just something comforting.
Comforting. And Aaron Paul, I mean, this is one thing I've kind of discovered about him. He always kind of is Aaron Paul.
Yeah, he's always
like when you see him in Westworld, he's kind of the same. Like he kind of is Aaron Paul. Because I saw this episode where he did a tour of his house with his wife, and I was just like,
cabin?
dude, you're like yourself. This is you.
He's like, these are my coasters, bitch.
Jesse.
Yeah.
You're the guy you're Steve from. They're not. I don't even know what the character's name is.
But look at Jesse at the beginning of
there's
Breaking
a
Bad,
change.
and then look at the end, and that shows his range. I am 100, and I'll just shut up because we've gone for too long. But I'm with you though, because once you get to peak Jesse Pinkman, that's pretty much what you see from him across the board.
Yeah, and then the other guy who's in it is Hugh Laurie, or Hugh. Is it Hugh Laurie?
Is he House?
No, sorry, it's not Hugh Laurie. It's Hugh Dancy. That's it.
Oh,
Hugh Dancy's in it. He's in Hannibal. He's what makes that show. I would say Hugh Dancy.
You know what House does,
a really
Heidi?
complex character. Like again, kind of a bad guy, but you kind of root for him. Underdog.
Have you ever seen what House does?
Slightly antagonist. So Aaron Paul's like the kind of the good guy, and then Hugh Dancy's kind of.
But
the
if you had
bad guy.
cardiac arrest and you went to where
really.
House, no, he's a foil. I get it. But if you went into cardiac arrest and you went to where House was practicing medicine, which is egregious and illegal, he would say, "I will plug this spoon into an outlet. I will hook up a copper wire. I'll poke a hole through her chest and do it." They're like, "You might just be crazy." It's like, "I might just be a genius." They're like, "No, dude, you're the fuck out of here, House.
Yeah.
That shit don't roll. Like, you can't throw the rule book out the window. You can't do that."
If you want to see a good show with him, though, and it's short.
Deep is good with him.
Yeah, if you want to see a great show with Hugh Downey, I'm getting all the Hughes wrong. Hugh Bonneville, Hugh Laurie. If you want to see a good show, you have to see The Night Manager.
That's my BritBox mom speaking right there. She because
my sister said today that Tom Hiddleston is my you get a second husband that's a celebrity.
I do not, Frank or Joe or whatever. I do not.
Starter husband.
Jack, I do not know about this, and I don't approve of it. But I will speak to my mother, who told me, "Have you ever heard of Hiddleston?" I'm like, have I?
He can wear a suit.
Yeah. The Night Manager is some shit, people. Get on.
And the girl in it as well is freaking gorgeous. She is from also Guardians of the Galaxy. But the two of them together are like, wow.
That's what we got to do, Heidi. This is our calling. We got to do our BritBox stuff. Like our BritBox, like for real. BritBox is full of gems, people.
Yeah.
We had Angela or
it was
whatever.
A BBC. I gather it was BBC. Oh, and there's talk that they're going to do a sequel.
BritBox is my mother. My mother.
Yeah, your mother should give us all of the.
Angel
Over's here. Hi, Angel Over. We totally derailed the thing. We're just kind of talking about stuff as we're wrapping up, but it's really nice to see you.
No, it is excellent.
This great show on BritBox called Inside number 9, inside number 9. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
it?
what she's. Yeah, no. Like BritBox is full of gems.
Okay. Justin, ask your mom for a top 10,
I'm gonna get it,
and then
and I'll
we'll pick a
actually
few
have
from
it.
that.
I'll actually have 10 if it comes from her. Trust
Okay.
me,
Oh,
she's on
and
it.
by the
Thank
way,
you.
about Brave New World, which I don't know who the production company is, but Harry Lloyd is in it. You know Viserys?
I know, but Sarah, so you know that he is a descendant of Charles Dickens.
I heard that. That is super cool. Who
No, you
apparently
heard it.
Charles
No.
Dickens apparently was a bit of a dick.
Yeah. His real name was Charles just Dick. Yeah. He
Or
was
is it
like, "Ah."
Richard?
It was. He was Dick.
Charles.
Yeah.
Actually, Charles. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Charles Dickens is in that other show. I keep doing these things like 6 degrees of separation.
This is
He's a
us.
character in a
Literally.
Sean Bean show about Frankenstein.
All right. Keep your hat on your shoulders, kids.
Apparently, Sean Bean didn't die in Silent Hill. Someone told me he made it out of that movie alive, which that's got to be a rarity. He dies in pretty much every movie.
Angela, have you seen Victoria on ITV? I actually had my channel blocked because I was actually the only YouTuber covering it, and they marked me as spam, and I do a thing on it. I still get and I love it because I still get comments on it today that I covered Victoria on ITV because I'm just a glutton. I am a simp for it.
So
like
you know what? Maybe I will. With the fall coming, I'm finishing up all my shows. Maybe I will do. I'll start watching Brave New World. Adults Huxley, Justin, and you and I can talk about it.
Yeah, we
I'm
got to
really
get
excited about the costumes because you know what? When I was in high school, we did Brave New World, and we had to be given hindsight so that they were the one who mentioned to me. So thanks hindsight about Charles Dickens. We had to do an assignment for Brave New World, and the teacher gave us these creative options, and one of them was designing the costumes for Brave New World. So that's what I did. I designed, and I wish I knew what I did with it. I probably would have been 14.
Well, we did a video with one of my top Patreons at the time. Like, this person donated a lot of money, and he really informed me about Brave New World. Like, I read it through and through, and we did a video series on it. It's on my channel. Like, where we were making comparison. It's Westworld. It is fucking Westworld, like verbatim.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is. But thank you so much, Heidi.
Oh, my pleasure, Justin. I
Always
just want to. So you have lots of exciting things coming up. Justin, aka 30 Days. His name is Justin as well. He's gonna be upset that I'm interviewing the costume designer for from Umbrella Academy. Yay! That's coming up. Very excited. And it's going to be a video interview, that's a rare thing. He agreed to do a video interview. So that's going to be fun. And he's a blast. We had such a great chat. And he's also worked on Hannibal. He did 2 seasons of Hannibal.
Were you, and I know this is our extended, but did you have to wait in the pit for it? How long did you have to wait for the interview?
He responded to me right away.
No, but it's one-on-one. Like you didn't,
it's one-on-one.
You didn't go to a hotel and there wasn't like a pit lobby.
No, we didn't have that. No, we're gonna do it virtually. I get the interviews. Honestly, this is how I do it because Tatiana's like, "How do you get these interviews?" I'm like, "Okay, this is honestly what I do. I send them a little email." It's my big secret. I send them a little email. I usually put a link to my channel and I say, "Hey, like I'm a YouTuber, blah blah blah." And they most often respond. I've only had maybe a couple of people, including actually Christopher, who I'm going to be interviewing. I emailed him last year and I never heard back. And so the only thing I could think of, he apologized to me. He says, "I'm so sorry I didn't get back to you. I didn't know." But he says, I was kind of like, I didn't sort of understand Instagram. And because I told him, I said, "I'm not exactly sure how I messaged you."
Yeah. Well, though that's what I was asking, because usually what happens is you'll be put in a pit, you'll be in a lobby. Like, and everybody gets like 10 minutes and you get a number.
Well,
like
that is what happened with Ruth Carter.
Yeah, it happened. There's no shame in that. But to get a direct interview with anybody is insane. Yeah, I was given a very
short, strict sort of thing. And I had to work within those parameters.
That's what everybody does, though.
Yeah. Whereas, some of these other ones I've done, it's a little bit more fluid. Like I told you, like we were talking on the phone for like a half an hour, and that's
unheard of. Like that is appreciated because they do these. You've been in those pits, and you've been in the lobby, and you've had producers and execs being like, okay, you get in for 10 minutes, and they will cut you.
Like a junket, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and they're like, you're done. Like, you don't. It's not like, oh, are they enjoying? No, they are. So they're usually drunk.
The thing is,
Yeah.
I mean, like people who work in movies and TV and so on, they're just like anybody else, right? Like they're fans. Like
Absolutely. There's
he's a
no shame
fan.
in it. Yeah.
Like I was, AU, I don't know if you're still here, but I was telling him about the Alienists. I'm like, oh, have you seen the Alienists? The costumes are really great. And so, and then he'd be like, oh, I'm watching this other show on Netflix called this one, and he's a fan as well. Like,
But
and
at
he
the
was
same
telling
time,
me,
it's a job and they're run down. So they have to do so many junkets, like, like they're not willing to give you a half hour. So for you to get a half hour with any of these people is amazing because
yeah.
NBC is trying to get a
But
half
that
hour.
wasn't even the interview. That was just me chatting with him on the phone about different shows that we like. We were
Well,
just
now you're
talking.
just hot shotting. Now you're just
Yeah.
hot shotting. Like, I can't get 5 minutes. You know what I mean? But it
Yeah.
is a big deal, people.
So I think it's just sort of like don't ask, don't get kind of thing. But it's always surprising.
I think they appreciate your skill set. I really do.
Aw.
No, I honestly do because it is something that is not so direct. It's not just like me coming. Oh, so what you think about how to approach your character? Like you're coming at it with a niche, and there's something that's different to them, right? Like there's not as many professionals like that coming at them, and it's a worth, and they like to know that other people appreciate layers to their work, and that's all. That's why I appreciate you.
And I'm sure this is the same for you, but it's a little bit like, do unto others if you would have done unto you.
Yeah,
So I just
and
sort of
they're
talk
not
to
bad
people.
They're not, but they get sick of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh
of
yeah. So I try
how
to
was
talk
the
to people
movie?
like how I would like to be talked to. So when I send somebody a message, I usually try, and I mean, I've met so many great people through you,
Mhm.
and when I ask somebody, hey, do you want to do this? I mean, I've never had anyone say, no, I don't.
No,
Most
because
people
it's
are
not
really
opportunity.
receptive to being asked, especially if you have an idea. This is one of the things we were talking about, like YouTubers. Like if you go to someone and say, hey, do you want to do a collab with me? But
Yeah.
you don't have an idea. Whereas opposed to say, hey, Justin, you want to talk about dark with me? Oh, sure.
And then I'm like, can we talk about Sons of Anarchy on the day? Like, yeah,
Well,
like,
and it's so funny because I know you've been wanting to do Vikings. I haven't watched that. You've been wanting to do Peaky Blinders.
but you're
You've been wanting
coming
to
at
do
them direct. You're not
Sons
just
of
trying
Anarchy.
because if you don't come at them
You
direct,
watch all these macho shows, but now that you've watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, we can do that show together.
you don't know how unmacho I am. Trust me.
You're totally macho.
But it is what it is. Like it just shows a direction, and I think because first off, their managers are reading this. You know what I mean? Like, so to get past that, like for you to
Yeah.
get these opportunities to speak to these people for a half hour off air, like that's not people. They die for a junket with 10 minutes, right? Like they die for it, and it's not that it's actor. They're human beings, people. It's
Of
like
course.
I
Yeah.
used to do cement. If I was doing cement still, and then somebody wanted to talk to me about that cement in a junket for 3 hours later for 10 minutes apiece, they're going to get about the same answers. And I'm not
Yeah.
going to be all that thrilled. I'm not going to give Heidi 30 minutes because she cares about what I'm wearing. You know what I mean? Unless I really think she's got an angle that I really think should be exploited. So it really is a testament to your prowess. It's a testament to what you do. And that's how we'll end it.
That's such
What
a
is-
lovely thing to say. You always
what-
make me feel so good.
it's
This
true,
is why
though.
I love having you on here.
Well, they don't hand it out, trust me, because they've got. You think they don't have people wanting interviews? They're like, oh,
That's why I love having you. You can
nobody's
you're welcome
contacting
anytime.
me. Somebody's contacting me. They're like, yeah, that's an issue. That's not an opportunity for them. So you turned a problem into an opportunity, and that's how
you and AU are welcome on my channel anytime.
Well, yeah, no, and I'm happy to be on here. It's an honor to be on. Good night and good luck. Can I say good night? And I want to chart.
That's it. Isn't that from a movie?
No, shh. Yes, no. It's mine. Good night and good luck.
Tits up.
Yes, that's it. No.
Okay, so before we go, I just want to mention I've mentioned a little bit through the stream that I have a 7-part documentary style series on the prequel characters from Game of Thrones that I am releasing pretty much every 2 weeks. So I have one coming out, I think maybe on the weekend.
Christian
See how
Cole?
exact I am with my dates?
Christian Cole?
And just it's a little bit the other thing is that it's featuring like some brilliant like artists, concept artists who, by the way, speaking of, are some of the most like salt of the earth people, because I've been reaching out to them, asking them if I can use their images and stuff. So some of the incredible artists that you see in, Fire and Blood and the World of Ice and Fire and that type of thing. So what's wrong, Justin? Is something happening behind you there?
I had Fire and Blood behind me, and now it's not.
Oh, do you?
I did.
Do you have a hard copy of it?
I do, and I don't know where it is.
Cool. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I don't have it, but I'm going to get it because that's what the prequel book or the the.
I got raptor arms trying to get it right now.
Anyway, so I'm learning all the details about the all the this what is it? All the different.
Well, check in on Gray Area's channel on Sunday, and you'll see a good example of it.
I'm gonna pop in. It's Gray Area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't think there's anything else we have to say.
No, we're always.
Can say goodbye to everybody. Thanks everybody for coming. It's like Angel over. Am I saying her name right?
I don't know.
Angel over.
Nobody ever.
02171.
Nobody ever puts their name easy. Hindsight POV did. Like that's one of the few. It's usually like expert.
Alternative Universe Pack Mule.
Yeah, it's ridiculous usually. It's
Joanne, I don't know if you're still here.
Yeah.
30 days. She's gone.
Thank you guys. Check it out.
Hindsight. And I think I got everybody.
Good
Thanks
night.
so much, everyone.
And good luck.
Bye. Have a nice evening.
I think once people